Hello and welcome to Six Part. Today I want to start a new series. What if Deku was the Tik Tok Mumen rider? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Nice one. As she defeated the villain by drop-kicking him to the ground, a tiny smile spread across the Midnight's face. Even though the hero couldn't see who it was, he already knew who it was that had yelled such a compliment at her. Nice one. The audience was already applauding Best Jeanist for using his threads to save a woman from falling off a burning building, but he felt even better about saving her after hearing that familiar voice call out to him. Nice one. Since Eraserhead was an underground hero and no one was supposed to know about him, he still didn't understand how this kid could find him at night. However, he will admit that it was pleasant to hear the child commend him for eliminating that trafficking gang. Eraserhead exclaimed, "Wait a sec, how did you get in this abandoned warehouse?" By Eraserhead. Eraserhead's personal cheerleader fled the scene on his scooter before Eraserhead could reach him. Nice one. Even though All Might had already received a lot of praise from the public, the little green-haired boy cheering him on from his scooter somehow made him want to fight these bad guys even more. "This is for you, Scooter Boy. Okay, is anyone gonna tell me who the hell that kid who pops up at all our fights is, or am I just gonna have to find out myself?" said the Best Jeanist. An irritated underground hero remarks, "That damn kid somehow manages to appear at every one of my fights and then escape from me on his All Might scooter. You too. He's so fast for a scrawny little kid, but he's so damn adorable, right?" Midnight gasped. "I took down a robbery, while no one was around, but out of nowhere I hear." The heroes all around yell, "Nice one," together. Midnight responded, "Yes. I felt like the #1 hero." Eraserhead deadpanned, "We are that kid's #1 hero when he's around." Izuku was riding his scooter around town in the hopes of seeing a villain fight and supporting them, as he usually did. He had a lot of free time to look for his favorite heroes and hoped to see them battle because he was labeled a Deku and had no friends because of Kachan. His mother was initially concerned about him being on the front lines of villain fights, but she was less concerned about him getting hurt after she got him a scooter so he could flee quickly. That was a lie. Although she was still quite concerned about him, she reasoned that he might have a better chance of escaping danger if he rode a scooter. Alright, that was also a lie. She was aware that he still had an equal, if not greater, chance of getting hurt, but she wanted to make up for telling him he couldn't be a hero, and even though this wasn't the best course of action, it was worth it to see his smile when she showed him the scooter she had gotten him. But she's still concerned that he could be harmed. But this scooter with an All Might theme did come in handy for Izuku's escapes. He would always applaud the hero he was watching just before the fight ended and then ride off to the next one. He has had a perfect record of never getting hurt thus far, while remaining oblivious to the effect his applause was having on the heroes. Izuku had just seen Night Eye and his henchmen safely secure the hostages they held while eliminating a number of villains in the heart of Tokyo's shopping district. Izuku was mesmerized by each hero's smooth movements the entire time. Each punch, kick, and takedown was perfect. He shouted his signature phrase to Night Eye and the others as soon as he realized that he would never divert the heroes from their mission while they were engaged in combat. Nice one. When Night Eye turned around, he saw a green-haired boy give him and his sidekicks the thumbs up before he quickly rode off, probably to engage in another hero fight. He was going to make fun of the other heroes for this. Izuku scootered off to where Ryukyu the Dragoon hero was supposed to be fighting after realizing that the heroes had heard him. He was eager to see this battle. "Sir," Lemillion exclaimed, beaming. "Was that who I think it was?" Awestruck, the bubble girl asked, Did we just meet him, Sir Night Eye?" With pride at his and his sidekick's accomplishment, Sir fixed his glasses. It seems we did. We have achieved what most heroes have only dreamed of, Bubble Girl and Lemillion. We have been complimented by the scootering hero fanboy." Lemillion and Bubble Girl were eager to share this with their friends. "No way, he actually shot you a thumbs up. I've only heard him say nice one to me." Midnight was grumbling. The most smug expressions were forced onto Sir Night Eye's and his sidekicks' faces. "Well, he was actually at my fight today too. Heard him cheer me on. You guys are right, you feel like $1,000,000 after the kids compliments you." Ryukyu responds. Yeah. He saw me take down a villain running away and yelled, "Nice one." Then pumped his fist in the air. I'm pretty sure he filled up my energy reserves. Najire was talking. Everyone exclaimed, "You got to see him fist pump the air." "Lucky bastard," complained Midnight. "Midnight," exclaimed Eraser's head. Ryukyu responds, "No, No, Midnight's right. Najire is indeed a lucky bastard. Speechless, Najire gazed at her hero mentor. All Might says, all right, we need to find out who this kid is. On the weekends, Izuku enjoyed going to the skate park to escape from watching hero fights. Don't get him wrong, he would still support them if he happened to witness a fight happen in front of him or on his way to the skate park, but he doesn't actively seek them out on the weekends because, well, even he needs a break from being a fanboy sometimes. He had no idea that this was noticed by the heroes. As Midnight kicked another villain, she muttered, something's off. Another villain was distracted by Present Mike's shout, yeah, I sense it too. One of the young voices said, that was sick. When Izuku was able to pivot his nose successfully, he couldn't help but smile. After 2 weeks of practice, he had just managed to pull it off in front of a young child wearing a red hat with horns. Thanks, I've been working on it for a while. Do you like to scooter too? Izuku responded. Still amazed by Izuku's scootering prowess, the young boy muttered, yeah, but I can't do anything like that. Izuku was thrilled to have an All Might scooter as well. It's taken me a while to learn how to do these kinda tricks, but I can help you with some easier ones, if you're not busy that is, Izuku replied. The younger boy pointed to a woman with white hair, red flecks scattered throughout, and glasses and said, yeah, I got time. My parents are busy working so I'm here with a babysitter. When she saw the younger boy pointing to her, the woman instantly leapt from the bench she was reading on and ran over to him. Kota, you're not supposed to talk to strangers. TCH, he's not a stranger, he's cool. He just did this sick move on his scooter and said he'd teach me how to do some too, Fuyumi-chan. The girl eyed the older boy and bit her lip in contemplation. With his All Might scooter and his I riot, you riot, we all riot for Crimson Riot shirt, he initially appeared innocuous. She knew she couldn't say no after seeing the boy's dazzling smile. Okay fine, Fuyumi murmured, but stay near me okay, and I'm Fuyumi Todoroki by the way. I'm Izuku Midoriya but you can call me Deku. Thank you for letting Kota skate with me. Izuku gave a bow. The idea of scootering with someone else, even if they were a few years younger than him, made Izuku happy, and he couldn't control it. Having Kota with him today only made it more awesome because normally he was by himself because no one wanted to hang out with him. The older girl's last name, however, sounded strangely familiar for some reason, though he couldn't remember why. He dismissed the idea and escorted Kota away to start their lessons. When Izuku announced his nickname, the girl gave him a strange look, dismissing it as a whimsy. She shouted, okay then. Well, you two have fun but don't get hurt, as they continued to ride their scooters. To which the boys replied, you got it. In front of Endeavor's daughter, Kota started his first lesson with Deku. Little did Izuku know that he was instructing the son of his favorite superhero duo. Edgeshot held a villain by the collar and said, wait a second, something's missing here. Best Jeanist and Mirko were just wrapping up their battle against alleged Yakuza members attempting to rob a support company in the middle of Musutafu Edgeshot. They sensed something was wrong, but they were grateful for the audience's support. It even appeared to have caught the attention of the police. One of the officers asks, hey, where's that fanboy with the scooter who says good one? The fact that Edgeshot wasn't present to watch his fight made him a little sad. It's nice one, and I'm not quite sure. Let's just say he was extremely envious of everyone else who had a fight, and the scooter fanboy has yet to give him any praise. Best Jeanist sighed, I think I'm going to take off early. I'll have my sidekicks take over for me. He didn't feel like fighting for some reason, and it seemed a little depressing not to have a scooter fanboy to encourage him. Many heroes in Japan were experiencing the same sense of emptiness. They simply couldn't get into the mood without that strange kid shouting encouragement at them. Being a hero was about saving lives and protecting the nation, so of course they knew it was wrong of them to feel this way, but when you hear that nerdy boy supporting you, it kind of makes you feel like the greatest hero in the world. It turns out that crime rates have started to drastically decline since Izuku, who the heroes referred to as Scooter Hero Fanboy, began supporting them. When Izuku was present, heroes simply felt more energized during combat. At a skate park, in the meantime, nice one Kota. Kota had just performed a basic bunny hop on his scooter, and because Deku was encouraging him, the boy felt like a pro skater already. The compliment from Izuku made Kota flush. Thanks, Deku. He felt amazing when Deku encouraged him, even if the trick he performed was unworthy of discussion. No problem, a little more practice and you'll be doing pro tricks in no time. Izuku was beaming. Fuyumi observed the older boy cheering on Kota with a smile from a distance. Despite the fact that their time together was coming to an end, he managed to make Koda smile more times than she could ever recall with just his encouragement. Fuyumi sadly said, "Koda, it's time for us to go." "Ah, but, according to Fuyumi, Koda," Izuku exclaimed joyfully, "Go on Koda, I'll be here next weekend if you want to come back." With a smile and a nod, Koda said, "Okay," and scooted off to his babysitter, hoping to see the older boy again so they could spend more time together. Alright, so if he was last seen Friday in Hosu during Ingenium's high-speed chase, and then a few hours later was cheering on Manuel, then that must mean he lives near there, right? Replied the present Mike. Sounds logical. Native said he saw him at one of his fights too. No one travels that far just to witness a few fights unless they live there, Aizawa replied. Many heroes were sitting in a conference room talking about their scootering fanboy's disappearance. He hadn't attended any of their fights over the last 2 days, which worried them because there were a lot of them this weekend. But I heard that most of his appearances were around Musutafu, so, wouldn't that mean he lives around there? What if he just travels around on his scooter but lives there? Huh. Najire began to jump around. Mirio shouted, "That makes sense, right sir?" After adjusting his glasses, Sir turned back to face the heroes. "That is plausible Najire, but I received news from the wild pussy cats that he was seen in the beasts' forests cheering them on while they were training apparently." Aizawa questioned in confusion, "Hold up, how'd the kid get away on a scooter on that type of terrain?" Gang Orca laughed, "Look, the kid was riding an All Might mountain bike." "Alright, as soon as we find out who this kid is, we're taking him shopping for other hero merchandise." Midnight was deadpanned. All Might smiled and said, "Oh, I don't know, I think the boy's taste in hero merch is just fine." Aizawa, along with many others, said, "Shut it All Might. Anyways, as I was saying, since he made it there, he must live next to the mountains," Sir clarified. "But also close enough to the city that he has easy access to transportation to Hosu, Musutafu and any other place in Japan." The heroes leapt to their feet with joy. Since the scooter fanboy had appeared close to Fat Gum's agency, this was their biggest lead. "This is great. So now we just need the pussycats to search the mountains for him while we have a few other heroes search near the city by transportations," cheered All Might. "To scooter fanboy!" exclaimed the heroes. Izuku felt a chill go down his spine and stopped eating in his tiny apartment in Musutafu, which is not close to the mountains, where he lived with his mother. Izuku remarked, "Someone is talking about me." Izuku cheered for the sidekick as he transformed one arm into a tentacle, ensnaring a villain and using it to defeat multiple others. "That was wicked Sun Eater," he exclaimed. When he heard the excited voice calling out to him, Tamaki flushed. According to what he had heard, the fanboy who showed up at hero fights shouted praise to the heroes, but never to any particular one. It appeared that his praise was intended for all of the heroes present. Sun Eater, hiding under his cloak, muttered, "Fat Gum, he called out to me, what do I do?" The scootering hero fanboy noticed me. Looking in the direction of a green-haired boy riding away on his All Might bike in all its glory, Fat Gum smiled and said, "I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna brag to everyone my intern got a shout out by the fanboy." Fat Gum muttered, "No scooter today, weird." He had no idea that the scooter had gone missing for a reason. At UA. Bang. "Look, I like Sun Eater, I do, but you're telling me a sidekick gets acknowledged by the scootering hero fanboy before I do. It doesn't make any sense." Maruko screams. Najire exclaimed, "Oh my goodness, Tamaki, you're very fortunate." "Indeed, Tamaki. One can only hope the fanboy calls out their name while cheering for them." Mirio exclaims. "Isn't it a little weird that we heroes are feeling dejected that a random civilian isn't complimenting us?" Hawks responded. "I mean come on, we're some of the top pro heroes." Night Eye questioned, "He's never complimented you has he?" "No, he hasn't." Hawks quietly said. "Thought so. Well once he does, you'll understand why it's such a big deal when he does." Night Eye clarifies. Izuku grinned and said, "And here are your drinks, please enjoy your meal." The girl and her eating companions turned a deep scarlet. Yuto made a joke after Izuku returned to the counter at the restaurant where he worked. "Wow Midoriya-kun, such a ladies' man." Unfortunately, Bakugo and his henchmen stole Izuku's All Might scooter while he was not looking, and he hasn't found it yet. Enraged, Izuku decided it would be simpler to find a job and replace it himself because he knew that no one would believe the oddball loser even if he did report this. Lying to his mother about losing his gift from her still made him feel bad. After engaging in a few skirmishes on his All Might bike, Izuku eventually suffered a broken chain and a burst tire, leaving him with an even larger repair bill. This brought us to the reason he was working as a restaurant waiter. Since he needed the assistance, the owner was more than happy to hire him. The fact that he brought in so many customers, much to the other servers' amusement, also helped. One of the brunette girls stammered, "Hi Izuku-kun." To the embarrassment of the girl, Izuku arrived with a bright smile and said, "Hina-chan, I haven't seen you in a while, the usual?" "Yes please. Sorry for not coming around lately, exams have started at CI, so I've been busy studying," Hina grumbled. Unaware of the girl's face turning red, Izuku grinned and said, "I understand completely. You need to give it your all if you're gonna be a great hero, right?" The girl brushed a lock of hair out of her face and said, "Yeah, right." As he walked past the teenager's table to serve his customers, Yuto joked, "And of course, our little Izuku-kun will be cheering you on the whole way." The older man laughed unapologetically at the girl's blushing redness. Really?" she inquired, turning to face Izuku in the hopes that what she was saying was accurate. Izuku grinned broadly and gave the girl his trademark thumbs up before leaving with her order. "Of course, I will. I'll be up front and center for your debut, I promise." Her friends were laughing at the enamored girl, completely unaware of the way he was making her gaze dreamily at his retreating figure. A number of servers gave the ignorant green beans a slap on the face before leaving. The restaurant's owner couldn't help but chuckle at his employees' foolishness. "Izuku, do you really not notice how many girls come in here asking to be served by you, just so they can talk to you? Throw them a bone and give them your number already." Yuto's sweat dropped. Izuku looked at his coworker, friend, as if he were insane. "What? No, they just like the food here, and you guys are usually busy while I'm free. Hina, Akari, Hamari, you and the other girls are just frequent visitors." Yuto remarked, "You're a daft bastard. Midoriya, my son. You are on a fucking first name basis with several hot girls, one of whom is also a hero in training," Haruto pointed out. "And?" Izuku inquired, perplexed. One of the customers muttered, "Oh, my lord." Yuto deadpanned, "And they are hitting on you, Izuku, plain and simple." Izuku laughed at his friend's remarks and shook his head before taking his customer's orders. Izuku laughed and said, "PFF Hina and the others interested in me? As if." With her friend unable to contain her laughter at the pining girl's expression, Hina deadpanned, "I'm interested in him." At another heroes meeting, Snipe inquired, "Any sign of scootering fanboy?" "No, last I heard he was at Fat Gum's fight, but he was on a bike, so I guess he's no longer on a scooter," Midnight replied. Aizawa remarked, "It makes sense, a bike is faster." Bam! All Might was hurrying in with a broken scooter and a worried expression on his face before either hero could respond. "Something happened to scootering fanboy. I found this in a ditch wrecked. Put out an alert, a search party something," shouted All Might. "What? How? When? Where?" exclaimed Present Mike, who had suddenly materialized. All Might replied, "Scooter, patrol, today, forest." Best Jeanist shocked everyone by yelling, "Calm down everyone. We can't overreact right now. We have an emergency on our hands. We need to figure out if our scootering fanboy is alright and who the fuck messed with him." "Very well. After examining the scooter, I've noticed numerous scorch marks and scrapes. This indicates we are dealing with numerous people with either have a fire quirk or explosion quirk, and as for the second person, I would suspect some type of knife quirk perhaps?" Nezu replied. "The scooter was in a ditch by Musutafu, so we search for people with those types of quirks and see who comes up, then we interrogate them, yeah?" Present Mike was optimistic. "Are you crazy? Do you know how many?" Hawks muttered a curse as he saw the owner's name and address partially scratched off, saying, "Hey guys, look at the bottom of the scooter, says right here, if lost please return to Izuku M, Japan." Edgeshot sighed, "Damn, the rest of his name is missing as well as the address." "Not a problem, we can just search the database for an Izuku M who lives in Japan," Aizawa said, seemingly testing the name, Izuku. "We have a first name," murmured Midnight. "We have a first name," exclaimed Present Mike. Everyone shouted, "To Izuku the scootering fanboy." Their next goal was to meet their biggest fan and learn more about Izuku. "And here is your paycheck, Izuku. Hopefully with this as well as all those tips you received from your many, many girlfriends, you can get another All Might scooter." Haruto laughed. Izuku stammered, trying to conceal the numerous numbers he had been given today. What? They aren't my girlfriends, they're just friends." Izuku became as red as a strawberry as Haruto continued to stare at him. "I never asked for this," Izuku exclaimed as he hurried from the eatery. "Think I messed with him too much?" Kiro answered with a laugh, "Nah, just enough. It's a villain fight, New scooter, skating on my scooter, can't stop me because I'm skating on my scooter. Izuku joyfully rode his scooter to the scene where he witnessed the number 2 hero using some kind of alluring charm to battle a villain. It appeared as though the antagonist was throwing any metal object nearby at the hero. Izuku concluded that the villain had a rather powerful quirk that would have been ideal for hero work. Unfortunately, Endeavor was too strong for the villain, despite their peculiarity. The number 2 hero swiftly melted everything the villain threw with his hell flames. The police were praising Endeavor for his efforts, and the majority of civilians, including those being rescued, believed that he was helping them by protecting them from a dangerous villain. The top hero, in Izuku's opinion, was simply destroying public property needlessly. Cars, lampposts, benches, and buses were all melted to the ground wherever he looked. Izuku was unable to suppress his disappointment at what he was seeing. He made sure Endeavor knew that this was not the proper behavior for a hero. He shouted, "Not cool," and started to scooter away after deciding he could stand no more of this altercation. Izuku abruptly stopped halfway through, his eyes widening as he saw the hero putting out the little rogue fires that were all around him. Izuku shouted, "Yeah, nice one, water hose duo." He no longer felt like watching the disappointing fight taking place behind him, even though he still enjoyed seeing his favorite hero duo. While extinguishing one of Endeavor's fires, Takashi grinned and said, "We've made it, honey. I can't wait till we get home to tell Koda," Akane answered, attempting to quench a particularly ferocious blaze. The words of those dorky fanboys somehow affected Endeavor more than he had anticipated, causing both the hero and the villain to pause in their battle. Throughout the hero community, Endeavor had heard about the nerdy superhero fanboy who would go around complimenting heroes while they were fighting. As the number 2 hero, Endeavor assumed he would soon receive the same treatment. That proved to be a mistake. Now that he is staring blankly at the spot where the little boy used to be, he feels strange about being reprimanded rather than praised. Endeavor swiftly dispatched the villain to his room and went home, rather than dragging out the battle. That evening, the Todoroki children were greatly perplexed by their father's actions. Izuku was riding his scooter to work when he was pulled over and asked for directions by an officer. He was a good-hearted citizen who voluntarily gave the right directions and, for some reason, blindly followed the man into a dim alley. "Whoa! How did you do that?" Toga stopped what she was doing to look at the untidy-haired boy in front of her. His question left her, to put it mildly, perplexed. People usually scream villain when they see her change back to her normal self, but instead he asks how she did it. Now, Toga couldn't help but find the nerdy-looking boy fascinating. Izuku stared in awe at the naked girl in an alley who was holding a very sharp knife to his neck. He was only paying attention to the scene where she changed from a police officer guiding him down a dim alley and requesting directions to a teenage girl who was going to cut his throat open because, for some reason, his brain wasn't processing the naked part. With hesitation, Toga replied, my quirk? Whoa, so, you have like a transformation quirk, right? Those are rare. Are you gonna try to be a hero? You'd be perfect for reconnaissance work. Anyway, how does your quirk work? Do you have to copy the person's DNA? Or can you like glance at them and then transform? Izuku responded. I'm Izuku by the way, but everyone calls me Deku. The green-haired boy had captured Toga's attention by this point. I'm Toga, and it's blood. That's how I transform into other people. The fact that she had just changed from a police officer to a girl, had a knife at his neck, and was nude didn't seem to frighten him in the least. So cool. Izuku was so excited to learn about a new quirk that he was practically vibrating. When a girl tells him about a cool quirk that makes her change into different people, he's practically boner than if he were on the verge of death. With her incisors visible, Toga grinned and said, I like you Deku-kun, and since I like you, I'm not gonna kill you. Oh, wow, thank you. That would have been horrible since I have a shift to cover at my job and you were gonna kill me? Izuku's face was completely drained of blood after a moment of processing his position. Toga laughed and sank her teeth into the boys' necks, saying, Don't look so glum Deku-kun. I already said I'm not gonna kill you, but I will take some of your blood as thanks. Even though Izuku worked out, he was still not as strong as Toga, and despite his best efforts, the blood-sucking girl only clung to him more tightly. Stop it, done. Do you want to see Deku-kun? Toga said, unfazed by the blood streaming down her cheeks. Trying not to faint from the blood loss, Izuku said, Sure's. The only thing that separated Izuku from his doppelganger was the bloodthirsty expression in their eyes, and if he weren't so exhausted, Izuku would undoubtedly be geeking out. Hey, good one. Before collapsing in a heap of trash bags, Izuku uttered those words. With a giggle, Toga Deku said, "Thanks, Deku-kun," and fled. Izuku was finally able to wake up and go to work after a while, but he kept rubbing his neck the whole way home out of fear of the mark it might leave. "Whoa, I think I just had my first hickey." Izuku let out a squeal. At the office, "Is it a hickey, Izuku Midoriya?" Yuto exclaimed, shocked that their cinnamon roll would arrive at work in such a condition. "Everyone, our cinnamon roll has been tainted." "What? No, I mean, it's not really a hickey, in my opinion. Today, a girl with a strange transformation quirk attacked me." "Izuku, I can't believe you would use getting attacked as an excuse to hide the fact you got a girlfriend." Haruto replied, "Do you know how many customers I'm gonna lose because of this?" "However, it's the reality, Toga." The girl changed from a police officer requesting directions to a knife-wielding naked girl. Izuku objected. "Before you two were married, you saw a girl in the nude. Go find that girl now, Izuku Midoriya, and ask her to marry him. For anyone else, you spoiled her." Toga scowled. "She attempted to murder me. She gave you a love bite, Midoriya. She was holding a knife to my throat. This girl is a little forward, isn't she?" Yuto gave a shrug. Izuku muttered as he made his way back to his starting point, "I'm gonna head home." "Whoa, did you guys notice what happened tonight?" Present Mike blew a whistle. Confused by what the blonde hero could be discussing, the many heroes in the conference all shook their heads. Before riding off, our resident fanboy encouraged the water hose duo and reprimanded the number 2 hero for damaging public property. Evidently, Endeavor was so taken aback that he killed the villain in a matter of seconds and stormed off. "I've never heard a fanboy reprimand a hero, damn you." "It's the first time," Midnight said with a laugh. "Speaking of which, how is Izuku M doing?" Night Eye asked. "In actuality, there aren't many in Japan." Aizawa smiled, "There's actually one who lives close to UA. How fortunate, huh? When some heroes go to pick up Mr. Midoriya, it won't be a huge surprise." "Dibs." Night Eye, All Might, Aizawa, and almost all the other heroes present shouted. "We can now resolve this in a responsible way. We're going to draw straws." "Well then, aren't you lucky?" The man smirked and said, "Indeed, quite a stroke of luck." "Oh, shut it, we know you used foresight to see which straw was the longest," Midnight sighed. While Night Eye would never acknowledge it, he did use foresight to win, and he wanted to meet that fanboy at all costs. The other heroes threw their sticks at the pro, who simply grinned at Midnight's accusation instead of denying it. Nezu sighed, disappointed that he had lost. Now, we never said quirk usage wasn't allowed, so, Sir won fair and square." All Might complained, "Okay, doesn't explain how Shota won too." He was eager to pick up the child who essentially looked up to him. Grinning, Aizawa said, "Luck. Remain calm. If only Night Eye and Aizawa go, so what? I mean, when they bring the nerd, we're all going to be here to meet him, right?" The rabbit hero shrugged, still doubting the kid's greatness because she had not yet received praise. "If that's the case, let those two grab the kid and we'll just wait to meet him," Maruko says. Midnight concurred, saying, "I mean, that's not the worst plan. We can also turn it into a party." Najire gave a cheer. "A fanboy's superhero party." Mirio continued. Many professionals who had received the boys' compliments complained that they initially wanted to say no, but after giving it some thought, they decided that hosting a superhero surprise party for the young nerd would likely be a better option than picking him up. "All right, then, the matter is resolved. While the rest of us heroes begin organizing the surprise party for him, Eraserhead and Night Eye will go pick up this Izuku," Nezu said joyfully. "All right. Take a break," All Might shouted. The heroes were going to make this the greatest party for that nerdy kid who could make even an unknown hero feel like they were the number 1 hero, so they looked at each other all over the conference room before rushing out to get party supplies and their own hero merchandise to surprise Izuku with. "Whoa. Well done, Koda. You finally mastered it," Izuku cheered. Though it only took a few weeks for it to happen again, Izuku ran into Koda and Fuyumi at the skate park. The younger boy was thrilled to see the boy with the green hair, and Fuyumi was also pleased to see the charming boy. Koda started frantically waving to the other boy while Izuku was scootering around in an attempt to get his attention. After that, Izuku finally saw the younger boy, and the rest is history. Now, Izuku is teaching the younger boy how to grind on a scooter. "All right." Izuku cheered, "Nice one, Koda, you almost got it." Koda fell mid-trick, but Fuyumi couldn't help but panic when she saw blood coming from Koda's chin, but he couldn't stop the giant smile from spreading across his face as the older boy cheered for him. Kota didn't even mind the scrape he had earned from the fall. Kota, remember what I said about being cautious? She sighed. I knew I shouldn't have let you play with an older child. What? Kota grumbled. No way, Deku is awesome, and besides, he's way more fun than playing alone. Izuku felt terrible for hurting Kota, and he immediately accepted responsibility for the smaller boy's injuries, knowing that he was to blame. I sincerely apologize. Please don't let this be the reason Kota stops spending time with me. Izuku bowed and said, I swear I won't teach him any more advanced tricks like this. We'll do smaller tricks instead. Before shaking her head, Fuyumi let her perspiration fall on the boy in front of her. I'm sorry, but I'll have to see, she said. She apologized. Kota's parents won't be happy that he was hurt, but I'm sure they should let him return once we explain what happened. Returning to Kota. Besides, you're going with them to that surprise party, so you have to look your best. While his parents were out being heroes, Kota could only cry as the older girl started guiding him away from the cool boy who gave him attention. Izuku sighed as he looked at the time and nearly freaked out when he realized it was almost time for his work shift. Aw man, I hope Kota can continue to play with me. So, after cross-referencing all possible locations for this fanboy, we've narrowed it down to this apartment building, Night Eye clarified. Aizawa smiled and said, well, let's go and check if he's home. Inko Midoriya knew she couldn't stop her son from doing the only things that made him happy, especially since it seemed to fill the void left by his hero aspiration, but she had not expected him home for a long time because he was out scootering at the skatepark until work. When she heard multiple knocks on her door, Inko was startled out of her thoughts about her son to see two of his favorite heroes standing there instead of her son. Oh my god. You're Night Eye and Eraserhead, Inko muttered. As the two heroes looked at her in disbelief, they were about to inquire how she knew that Eraserhead was a known hero because of his underground reputation, but Night Eye was a well-known hero. Oh my. Knowing that two of Izuku's favorite heroes, aside from All Might, that is, were present will make him extremely envious. Why are two of Izuku's favorite heroes present, you ask? After finally getting her bearings, Inko said, oh, pardon my manners, please come in. Before going inside, the two heroes laughed at the mother's response to them. After they had taken their seats and the Midoriya matriarch had prepared them tea, they started to explain the purpose of their visit. Night Eye laughed and said, Izuku has gained a bit of a reputation among us heroes, you see. Inko couldn't resist giving him a face because she knew he would eventually run into problems with that fucking scooter. Her only child leaving her would probably kill her, so she asked anxiously, he isn't going to jail, is he? No, on the contrary. You see, we don't know how, but that boy somehow shows up at every fight with his bike or that nerdy All Might scooter and supports us. This kid's endearing cheering includes us underground heroes as well. And we really do appreciate it. As a token of appreciation, we would like to meet the young person who inspires us to be heroes and strive for excellence, Aizawa stated. Knowing that her baby was likely to faint from joy, Inko Midoriya couldn't help but feel so proud of him for receiving all of these heroes' attention. Oh, Izuku isn't here at the moment, unfortunately. You see, he's at his part-time job. While watching a villain fight again, he attempted to tell me that his limited edition All Might bike was damaged, but I know better. Anyway, in order to fix it, he is working some extra shifts. He adores that bike, she said with a smile. Could you please tell us the name of the establishment where he works and possibly the identity of the person who vandalized it? Night Eye snarled. There are far too many suspects, Inko said, casting a sorrowful glance at the heroes. Izuku is frequently bullied at school because, as you can see, he is eccentric. Although he doesn't express it directly, I can tell that the kids are abusing him when he returns home battered and bruised. Aizawa snarled, school name now, Mrs. Midoriya. And workplace. Night Eye brought it up again. Aldera Middle School, and Haruto's Ramen House. Night Eye saw the queue and bowed to the woman, smiling softly at her. Thank you for the tea, and please know that everything, and we mean everything, will be taken care of from here on. Aizawa said, Nezu, I'm gonna need you to look into all the teachers at Aldera Middle School, as well as quirkless bullying. Night Eye then got up to leave. Watching the heroes go, Inko grinned tearfully, unable to believe that her son would finally receive assistance. No matter how much she tried to discuss her son with the school, they simply dismissed her concerns. At last, something would be done. It seemed that someone wanted the reports of bullying from Aldera to be hidden away so no one could find them, but they had no idea that Nezu was not one to leave anything unexplored. Nezu was shocked at how quickly he was able to locate them, deep within their archives. Oh, how much fun it would be to destroy this school. Middle school in Aldera. Good evening, Sakamoto, principal. I've heard a lot about how much bullying you can put up with. Nezu grinned, perched on Detective Tsukauchi's shoulder. Aldera's vice principal couldn't help but snicker at her colleague, who was sweating profusely, because he was finally receiving the punishment he deserved for letting those pampered little brats harass those poor, oddball students. No matter how many times she wanted to report them, she was always told that she would be fired if she did, and that those little bastards had a bright future ahead of them. Well, guess what? Those kids would never be heroes now, not after she exposed the identities of all those bullies. At Haruto's ramen shop, in the meantime, hello I mean Midoriya-san. Oh no, Akame. What did I say about being addressed in such a previous manner? Isn't it true that we are friends? Izuku grinned and said, call me Izuku, or Deku if that's too much. When the boy gave her a brilliant smile, the girl blushed dark red, and she couldn't take her eyes off her bowl of egg soup, hoping he would mistake her red face for steam. Okay, Izuku. May I call you Izuku, please? Another girl timidly asked. You certainly can. You visit so frequently that I feel like we're such good friends, so it's only fair, Suzuki-chan, Izuku said joyfully. With a bright smile, the girl shoved her food into her mouth and blushed brightly, enjoying the fact that she could call her crush by his first name. One by one, every girl Izuku was serving asked him to use his first name. It was such a minor request that he had to comply, especially since they were such regular customers and he was well acquainted with the girls. Yuto moaned, oh my god, this boy. The store owner, Haruto, remarked in surprise, he's a babe magnet, but like he doesn't even know it. Who is giving him all the tables with girls? What the devil? Toka inquired, attempting to ascertain which of them was giving the teenage boy the tables. I'm not sure, but I assumed you were. Yuto gave a snort. Yuto sighed, envious of the tips the girls were leaving for the unknowing boy, as well as the few girls who dared to leave their number. This kid. Look, folks. To allow us to talk, a few of the girls gave us their phone numbers. Never before have I had so many friend numbers on my phone. The rest of the restaurant staff couldn't contain their groaning. Night Eye said, hey, we'd like a table for two. Eraserhead trailed closely behind. Toka, a little uneasy about seeing a well-known figure in their restaurant, said, sure thing, here are your menus and your server will be right out. Night Eye inquired, actually, we were wondering if we could get served by Izuku. Ah, Izuku? Toka stated, I can see if you would mind staying over a little while, but he's actually supposed to be leaving in a few minutes. I'll do it. I'll take care of them. Even better, I'll do it for free. Izuku shouted as he hurried into the dining room, breathing heavily and wearing his uniform shirt half off. Where are they? Where are Eraserhead and Sir? Izuku inquired. Who is Eraserhead? Yuto inquired. Is that the guy who looks like a hobo? Toka inquired. Aizawa grunted, yes. How can I possibly help you guys? Izuku smiled at his idols and asked. How are you doing, Izuku? Night Eye asked. I'm doing fine. Thank you, sir. How are you and Eraserhead doing? Izuku bowed. We're just fine thank you. He laughed. You are quite the difficult child to find, you know. I don't think I've ever met a person that was harder to track down than you. Aizawa laughed. Izuku bowed and said, I'm sorry about that. If I had known you were searching for me, I would have let myself be discovered, or, more accurately, I would have searched for you. Izuku remarked, a little perplexed as to why they were even trying to find him. Calm down, child. There is no trouble for you. How about you serve us first, and then we can talk? I am capable of doing that. After the heroes were served and Izuku was seated between Sir and Eraserhead, they eventually started talking. With two of his favorite heroes having lunch with him and inviting him to tour their hero agencies, Izuku's life couldn't get any better. To say he was experiencing a mild panic attack would be an understatement. The nerd fanboy had no idea that things would only get better in his life. Night Eye smiled and said, I must say, that was delicious ramen, Izuku. Aizawa seconded, not bad at all fanboy. Izuku reddened at the compliment. He bowed and said, thank you so much, but it's Yuto's cooking you should praise. After laughing at the nerdy child, the two heroes followed his instructions and thanked Yuto for his cooking. We must be on our way, we have some important business that must be handled, but Izuku please continue to support us. Night Eye grinned. Of course Night Eye. I'll support all of you, the hero said, and Izuku's eyes glowed. Aizawa ruffled the younger child's hair and grinned at him. Remember what we said all right. Izuku gave a second nod, of course, I just have to tell my mom, but I'll clear my weekend as soon as I get home too. Before they left, the two heroes laughed. They thought what a fascinating youngster. It was worth the effort to locate him. Aizawa, see you soon fanboy. Izuku went to his knees after the two heroes departed, and Toka just managed to catch him in time to prevent him from facing plant. Toka said, Izuku, are you alright? Before fainting, Izuku muttered, Night Eye, and Eraserhead, know my name, and just invited me to tour their agencies. Before dropping the teenager, Toka rolled her eyes and smiled a little. Yudo take Izuku to the back so he can rest from the excitement from today's lunch. Swear this kid is full of surprises, she laughed. The present Mike squealed, tell us, what was the fanboy like? Aizawa stated bluntly, he's as adorable off the scooter as he is on. The idea of an adorable teen even approaching their stoic, hard-headed Eraserhead made every hero in the conference room lose their SHT. Impressed, Night Eye remarked, in fact, he is also quite brilliant, having come up with many ideas to combat my quirk's weaknesses. Oh, Nezu exclaimed, thrilled at the idea of someone else possessing such a strategic mind. Well, now I can't wait to meet this child. Good, we invited him to tour our agencies this weekend, but he'll actually be coming to his surprise party. We wanted to bring him today, but he apparently scheduled study groups with a few girls he met at the ramen shop he works at, Aizawa replied. Study groups? Asked Midnight, doubtfully. Aizawa exhaled. Well, actually, from what the owner of the shop revealed to Night Eye and I before we left, they're most definitely study dates. Izuku's just really dense and hasn't figured out he has several dates scheduled in one day. After a while of silence, the ever-stoic Edge shot snickered, followed by Mirko's laughter and finally the laughter of all the heroes in the conference room at their little fanboy's lack of awareness. They were eager to get to know the little nerd. Aizawa stopped laughing and said, oh, that reminds me, Nezu, did you get that done? Ah, but of course Shota, soon everyone will know of the horrors that place has done. Nezu laughed. Break in line later that night. This Justin Aldera Junior High has been ordered to temporary close for the remainder of its school year. Sources say the abrupt closure is due to bullying amongst quirkless students, which until now was being ignored. From what we can tell, the principal of Aldera was in fact aware of this. It will be reopening once investigation of all its faculty is done. Many viewers of the breaking news report were either disgusted by the fact that adults were allowing children to be harmed or indifferent to the fact that bullying was a quirkless experience. Some were extremely afraid because they were among the faculty members who watched as their oddball pupils, specifically Izuku, were subjected to constant bullying by all of the students in that school. Their teaching career was over, and judging by the few colleagues being escorted in handcuffs to police cruisers, they were not being treated lightly. Many parents were only concerned about how this would impact their kids' chances of being accepted into hero schools. A helpless disabled child would never be bullied by their angelic child. They didn't need to worry. Their concerns were numerous. The vice principal of Aldera, who is now the principal, sat in her recliner drinking sake. She felt that it was long overdue to see the principal in handcuffs along with a few teachers she had accused of being complicit in the bullying. It's also quite gratifying to watch. Bakugo snarled at his television. He knew shitty Deku was at the center of everything after he saw what was happening to his bad school. He wasn't particularly concerned about punishment because, of course, no one was foolish enough to snitch, so he couldn't be held responsible for any of the bullying, but this was still a blow to having a cool origin story. Whatever happened to his school now didn't matter to him because his hero career was still guaranteed. Hey, dumb Deku thinks he could get one over on me, he needs to think again. Late at night in the home of Midoriya, a certain underground hero had just called Inko to give him an update on Izuku's school circumstances. When she learned that they had worked so hard to shut down the school and have everyone who had harmed her little cinnamon bun arrested or prohibited from applying to any hero schools, she practically started crying. Thank you so much. No one's ever gone this far for my son, and yet here are all these heroes reaching out to help him. I don't know how to thank you. After a brief period of silence, Aizawa addressed the mother of his now favorite young fanboy. Please, just allow Izuku to continue to cheer for our fights and we'll call it even, Aizawa replied. Before expressing her agreement, Inko was unable to speak. Yes of course. I mean, I couldn't stop Izuku even if I tried though. Also, don't worry about finding a replacement school for Izuku. We've already registered him into Some. He starts tomorrow. When the name of the school was mentioned, Inko's mouth fell open. Eraserhead, that school is so expensive, we could never afford that. Aizawa laughed, recalling all the heroes who helped the little nerdy fanboy after they learned what was going on with him. Don't worry, you're not paying for it. We've gotten a few sponsors, she said. Inko made no effort to conceal her tears this time. Her son had gone through so much in his life, and the support she was getting from these unidentified heroes was invaluable. She was eager to share the good news with Izuku. "Thank you so much. Of course, oh but we do have one condition." Weary of what she and Izuku had to offer Eraserhead, Inko froze at the hero's words. And that is? Please make sure Izuku is free this weekend with no interruptions. I and a few others will be taking him for the day, with your permission of course. I'll immediately clear his schedule, Inko stated. Excellent. Somei already knows about Izuku's transfer, so they'll have everything ready for him, and a uniform has already been sent to your home. Have a good day. Well, thank you again. Inko concluded their conversation and then sat down to process what had transpired. Izuku was going to attend one of the best middle schools in Japan for free, in addition to the closure of his school, which was essentially permitting him to be mistreated. Oh, and he's going to an event this weekend with some heroes. How you affect others, Izuku, Inko laughed. And finally, the last letter we will be sending out to explain they will never be able to apply to any hero schools is to one Bakugo Katsuki, Izuku Midoriya's biggest bully. Nezu continued. Don't forget he is banned from applying for a quirk usage license until he has been deemed fit to use his quirk in public by a psychiatrist and will be serving community service as punishment for his bullying, Sir grumbled. Eraserhead remarked, I'm glad the kid is still a minor because otherwise I would have him arrested. The next day when Inko suddenly realized that she had forgotten to share some important news with Izuku that morning, she paused her cleaning. She shook the emotion away and resumed cleaning after a few seconds of forgetting what the news was. She didn't understand what was bothering her all day until she got a call from Izuku's new school informing her that he hadn't shown up for his orientation. I forgot to tell Izuku his school closed. After being sent off by his mother, Izuku was joyfully riding his new Eraserhead scooter to school when he noticed police tape encircling it and a large sign on the fence declaring its closure. Izuku was perplexed by what he saw and had only one question that needed to be addressed. He didn't know how this could have happened. Does this mean I don't have cleaning duties today? Izuku ignored the fact that his school had closed. In all honesty, it ought to have done so sooner, and headed out into the city to find villain fights. Izuku was eager to see what kinds of activities took place in school with his newfound leisure time. Present Mike screamed, What do you mean Izuku never showed up for school? Exactly what I said. How the hell that kid didn't get the news that his school closed is beyond me. It was on every TV channel last night. I even called his mom to let her know so she could tell Izuku. So not exactly sure what the hell happened. Eraserhead exhaled. Rewind. Keep these dazzling eyes on you, Izuku muttered. They've come to lend their paws and save. Wait, that's not how it goes. He swiftly rewatched the video of the wild pussycats entering a villain fight to learn what they were saying. Izuku shook his fist with a broad smile after 2 more watches, sure that he had finally figured out what he wanted to say. All right. Focus on these dazzling eyes. They've come to assist and lend a hand. Out of the blue. Very adorable and feline. Crazy pussycats. Izuku finished striking a powerful pose as he gazed at the video, his heart pounding with joy upon realizing that he had perfectly matched the pussycats. I feel as though I belong to the wild pussycats. Izuku let out a squeal. Unable to resist recording, Inko continued to follow the movements of the rescue teams while staring at her cute son dressed as a wild pussycat. She had forgotten why she had come to his room in the first place. In the meantime, at the Bakugo residence, Deku I will kill you. After receiving the letter that he would never be able to apply to any hero schools, much less apply for a quirk usage license, until he was given assistance for his bullying, Bakugo became extremely angry and wanted to actively seek out Deku and blow him up where he was. After scootering around aimlessly in search of a villain fight, Izuku finally stumbled upon who he thought was one of the most attractive heroes. Izuku was cheering on Mirko when he felt a chill go down his spine. He looked around, a little worried that a villain might sneak attack him, but he shook the feeling away before watching the rabbit hero drop-kick another villain into the ground. Izuku exclaimed joyfully, I'd let Mirko kick me in the face any day. Everyone around Izuku glanced at the teenager before coming to the same conclusion. Same. It was, in a word, epic. Izuku then returned to staring with wide eyes at Mirko as she jumped from building to building, dodging the villain's projectiles, and finally slammed her powerful legs onto their face, knocking them out. Well done, Mirko. Mirko froze mid-kick, her ears popping up at the sound of a kid cheering her on. Not just any kid, she knew, but this one was special, and she turned around to see bushy green hair, a cute freckled face, and what appeared to be a foam finger with her face on it. Even Mirko, who usually acts like a badass, couldn't help but smile at the sight of such a cute scene. It was a dream come true, as her face lit up even more when she saw him riding his trademark scooter. Civilian's perspective. Hey, kid. That foam finger. Where did you get it? While searching for a vendor selling the item, a random person in the crowd asked. Izuku shook his head and glanced at his hand before saying, I didn't buy it. I just always carry merch for random heroes, that way I'm prepared to cheer them on in case I see them. The person in the crowd gave the boy a disbelieving glance. Really? As you can see, I have a Midnight Fanboy flag, an Edge-Shot t-shirt, a Best Jeanist turtleneck, and Hawk's #1 sunglasses. The civilian muttered as he left, I get it, you got a lot of shit. Izuku shrugged as he turned to face the departing individual. After deciding that he had stayed long enough, he grabbed his scooter and headed to find another fight to support. The villain's point of view. Hey, can we get on with the fight? I know you're gonna defeat me and just toss me in jail, but it's kinda rude to stop mid-kick, ya know? Mirko turned around and gave the villain a fierce look, upset that he had interrupted her as she was visualizing the nerdy fanboy applauding her. Mirko smiled and said, oh, you want me to finish this? Alright then. The villain became aware of how screwed up he was at that point. Wait, no, I'm sorry, can we just maybe cuff me? I surrender. After 2 minutes, Mirko, I think the guy's dead? Said an officer with a feline appearance. Mirko pointed to the man's shallow breathing and remarked, nah, he's still breathing, see. Oh, okay. Take him away, boys, thanks again, Mirko. Mirko waved the officer away without saying anything. She still found herself grinning every time she remembered the hero fanboy praising her. She now understood why he was so adored by everyone. Izuku told Hina and a few other ramen shop regulars, and that's all you really need to know in order to identify your verbs and adjectives. Is there anything else you need me to clarify for you? Are you single? What's your ideal girlfriend? Hina inquired, does this count as our first date? It took Izuku only a few seconds to comprehend the girl's questions completely, and once he did, it took him a few more seconds to faint with shame, to think he was attractive to girls. Mom is going to go crazy, Izuku pondered before fainting. The other girls in their study group deadpanned at the CI Academy student as soon as Hina asked, was that a yes? It's a yes, she supposed. When Izuku woke up the following morning, his mother was lecturing him about having a harem and how impolite it was to faint during a date with all those attractive women. His mother claims that they were sweet enough to bring him and his scooter back to their apartment after he passed out on them. Izuku, if you're going to date all those girls, at least make sure you have enough energy to spend time with them. I didn't raise you to fall asleep in the middle of your dates. Inko yelled. This is exactly why I said you should stop staying out so late for your hero watching. Izuku didn't realize he didn't even deny having a harem, unlike his mother. But Mom, that's the only time the underground heroes are out. Me passing out yesterday had nothing to do with being tired, Izuku said. We'll talk more about this later. For now, you have school to get to. It's bad enough you already missed your orientation, can't have you missing another day. Izuku grinned and nodded at his parent, who was not one to argue with his cinnamon roll of a mother. Izuku grabbed his scooter from the hall closet and started heading straight for Some. Bye Mom, love you. Bye honey. Reflect on your behavior with your girlfriends, okay? Okay. Wait, what? Izuku had just arrived at school and was walking into his homeroom, thinking briefly about talking to his mother, when a robotic boy approached him. Would you happen to be Izuku Midoriya? Izuku nodded and grinned at the four-eyed man. Yup. It's my first day. Are you the guy who's supposed to show me around? Indeed, I am Iida Tenya, your guide for today. We appear to be in the same homeroom. However, you were supposed to be here yesterday for orientation. Izuku said, oh yeah, no one told me, so that's why, but Iida interrupted him, still yelling at him about skipping school the day before. And that is why you must never ditch school, Midoriya-san. Also, where is your tie? You are tarnishing the school's name by not abiding by its dress code, and also. Puzzled as to why he was being lectured, Izuku gazed at the robotic boy. He only just found out about his transfer a day ago, and he chose not to wear a tie since he couldn't figure out how to tie it. This school was already becoming stuffy, wow. In any case, he saw Mirko use her thighs to knock that guy out. Midoriya-san, are you even listening to me? Refocusing, Izuku grinned and shook his head at the robo-boy, saying, I'm sorry Iida, but I was thinking about Mirko's thighs. So lewd, exclaimed Iida. Unsurprised by Iida's lecture to the new student, the rest of the class and even the teacher were startled out of their reverie by the young boy's audacity. openly acknowledging that he had considered the thighs of one of the 10 most attractive heroes. Who was this unremarkable boy with untidy hair? I don't think it's that lewd. Asking Mirko to kick me in the face then thanking her, that's probably lewder. Izuku chuckled. You look so innocent, yet have such a dirty mind, Iida screamed. Izuku responded with a question of his own, ignoring the stiff boy's statement. Yeah, anyway, are you related to Ingenium? Iida started to stutter. Nobody had ever really connected with his brave brother so rapidly or been so direct in their questioning. Which, given that he had exhaust pipes extending from his legs, was somewhat unexpected. Iida coughed and said, yes, I am his younger brother Iida Tenya. So cool, your brother's awesome. I saw him stop a high-speed car chase while I was riding on my scooter. The car almost hit me, but it's okay because I managed to dodge it, but that's beside the point. As they watched a high-speed car chase involving one of their classmates' siblings, the entire class looked at their classmate, who was becoming more and more bizarre by the minute, and casually admitted to nearly getting struck by a car. In an instant, Iida transformed from a conceited elitist to a proud sibling. Yes, my brother is indeed cool. In fact, he is one of the reasons I plan on going into the hero profession. Iida replied with pride. Izuku exclaimed, awesome. I wish you luck then, with genuine joy for the boy in front of him. Izuku's bright smile instantly blinded everyone in the classroom as he said, hey, y'all think I could race him sometime? I'd know I'd lose, but it'd still be fun to tell my mom I raced Ingenium on my scooter. My eyes. Too pure. Iida averted his gaze from the boy's dazzling smile, which was always perplexing him. From a slacker who skipped school to a lewd pervert, he has transformed into a hero fanboy who is supportive. Who exactly is this boy? Iida pondered. I guess I could ask him, but as he is a very busy hero it might not be any time soon. Sweet. I'm totally gonna train now. Alright, is class over? 'Cause I heard that there was gonna be a hero fight somewhere downtown. Iida shook his head and glanced at Izuku. Midoriya-san, school barely started 15 minutes ago and also you should be staying away from villain fights. Izuku laughed as he made his way to his classroom door to depart, asking, where's the fun in that? As he left his classroom, Izuku waved back at all of his classmates and remarked, man, you're pretty funny for a stiff elitist. Iida turned to his teacher and asked out loud, what just happened? The teacher shrugged. Even she was perplexed by what had just happened. She was certain, though, that Izuku Midoriya would be a pain in the ass. It happened, you guys. I have officially been cheered on by the hero fanboy, Mirko boasted. Night Eye grinned and said, congratulations, Mirko, what a momentous day, indeed. Not only will we be having him attend our special surprise party tomorrow, but another hero has been cheered on by our very own fanboy. Hooray for the fanboy, Hawks complained. I still don't get what's so great about this kid. All Might smiled and said, you will understand when he cheers for you. Izuku squealed with excitement as he said, bye mom, I'm going to tour Night Eye's headquarters now. Oh my gosh, take plenty of pictures for me alright and get his sidekick's Lemillion autograph for me alright, Inko exclaimed. Naturally, I'm eager to hear his signature phrase. Power. Izuku and his mother shouted while giggling. Inko grinned and said, what a charming young hero. You're right. When All Might retires, he's a strong candidate to be the most popular hero. After giving Izuku a bear tight hug and saying, that's true, but he doesn't hold a candle to my little hero, Inko said, have fun, okay? Thanks, Mom. And I'll talk to you later. Is everything prepared for us? All Might cried out. Almost all of Japan's top heroes nodded to one another, confirming that everything was indeed prepared for their little fanboy. The nerdy fanboy operation is over, Present Mike gave a cheer. To the fanboy nerd, the rest of the heroes applauded. Why was I required to attend this pointless gathering? A little kid wearing a red hat moaned. The water hero team explained, we wanted you to spend the day with us because Kota, Fuyumi deserved a day off. Besides, we think you'll like this boy. I doubt it, Tisk. Kota growled, upset that they would no longer let him hang out with the older boy after learning that he had been hurt playing with him. I'd much rather hang out with Deku. Kota had no idea. Toga? Oh, does Deku-kun still remember me? With blood trickling slowly from her face, Toga spoke in the middle of her bite. Yes, I do, indeed. You have such a wonderful quirk. Indeed, you did threaten me with a knife, but it was really a turn-on when you showed me what your quirk is. The fact that the fanged schoolgirl was biting his neck for blood didn't bother Izuku in the least. Toga blushed profusely. She felt flattered that this boy thought she could be a hero, even though she was still holding Izuku in a chokehold with a knife to his neck so she could suck his blood. She dropped the knife and turned away, kicking her foot back and forth. Deku-kun truly believes I have the potential to be a hero? Hell yes. Izuku remarked as he covered his bleeding neck with a bandage he had already made. All right. Toga smiled and said, I will try my hardest to be someone that will make Deku-kun proud of me. And as your biggest supporter, I'll be rooting for you all the way. Deku pumped his fist into the air as he spoke. Tears started streaming down Toga's face because no one had ever believed she could be a hero or been so encouraging, and now here was this boy, whom she had threatened twice, willingly supporting her as she rose to her hero status. Parkouring away from the green-haired cinnamon roll, Toga grinned devilishly and said, Okay, but you better keep that promise, Deku-kun. Obviously, unaware of the looks he was getting for the bloodstains on his collar, Deku cheered at the girl leaving and started to walk a little more slowly to Night Eye's headquarters. Izuku had finally arrived at Night Eye's agency, though it had taken him a little longer than anticipated due to a stop for a new shirt after too many people stopped him and asked if he needed to go to the hospital. This is it. Wow, I will finally have the opportunity to meet Night Eye and Lemillion face to face. Izuku let out a squeal. He whispered, Izuku, take a deep breath, you're not a crazy fanboy. He was. Hello everyone, this is our little fanboy, All Might shouted. Everyone, get your gifts and autographs, it's happening. The fanboy is now inside the building, Present Mike said. As Best Jeanist grinned, she said, time to officially meet the little nerd. Izuku entered Night Eye's agency slowly, and although he was taken aback that no one was at the desk to direct him, he reasoned that he could just sort of look around the building until he found someone. Whoa, only 3 of those limited edition All Might posters were produced, Izuku observed. Break in line. Hey, who's out there to welcome Izuku if everyone is in here? Did Lemillion ask? The bubble girl, Night Eye's sidekick, secretary, caught everyone's attention. What, I believe that I should also be present. Go quickly and get that boy before he gets lost. Where has he gone? When he was no longer visible on their security cameras, Aizawa inquired. Oh my god, my favorite Jeanist is in the same room as all of my other favorite heroes, including Might and Makuo. Izuku yelled and tore open his shirt, exposing what they hoped were temporary tattoos of almost all the heroes present on his chest. Midnight remarked, maybe surprising the kid wasn't a good idea. Ah, but did you hear that he called us all his favorite heroes? Najire giggled. Kid really knows how to make everyone feel like the number one, doesn't he? Aizawa murmured. That's correct, but who the hell got him those tattoos? All Might inquired, astonished by the young boy's large body tattoos but also flattered. Ryuku shrugged and said, I can't say I'm not flattered to be on his body though. Others could not help but nod in agreement after noticing they, too, had been tattooed. Izuku was shocked to see so many heroes he looked up to, and it took some time before he finally woke up. He had never imagined meeting the heroes he was constantly supporting in person. Edgeshot nodded while munching on some cake and said, oh hey, guest of honor is awake. Yes. Present Mike gave a cheer. All right, we can now. Deku? Koda? Exclaimed Izuku. Running to the older boy, Koda exclaimed, I didn't know this party was for you. While grinning. His parents were practically having a heart attack from the action. Koda rarely smiled like that around anyone other than them. Being a socially awkward child, he detested everyone who wasn't them or his Aunt Mandalay. Izuku pumped Koda's fist and exclaimed, well, I didn't either. I thought I was just touring Night Eye's headquarters. This is just so cool. Izuku said, so why are you here? He pointed to the water hero pair and remarked, oh, my parents brought me. Izuku glanced back at Koda after nearly collapsing upon seeing his favorite pair. Izuku put his hand on his chest and said, you mean I was hanging out with the kid of my favorite duo? Oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true. Oh wow. I can't believe it. Izuku pleaded, autograph, can I have your parents' autograph? Yes, Koda shrugged. When their favorite fanboy approached them to sign autographs, the water duo experienced a surge of pride in their chest. They later realized that this was the boy Koda was constantly hanging out with, so they forbade their son from doing so because he was so cute. Nuha, nope. No longer. The water couple looked at their son, who was rehearsing a handshake with Izuku. Koda. Yeah? You can hang out with Deku at the skate park? Really? The two simply nodded, enjoying the cute moment as Deku embraced Koda and expressed their happiness that they would have more time to spend together. The other heroes, meanwhile, were occupied with moving past their jealousy of a 7-year-old who had a handshake with their favorite fanboy. Midnight questioned, "We aren't really jealous of a kid, are we?" "We are. Everyone may complain." Izuku was ecstatic. In addition to receiving far more hero merchandise than he could have ever purchased, he also received autographs and photos from every hero he encountered. For the die-hard fanboy, it was like a dream come true. "Oh my god, it's Najire-chan, Sun Eater and Lemillion. You guys are so cool. Barely second years and you guys are already considered interning with some of the top heroes." Izuku was overjoyed. The teen's praise caused the 3 UA students to flush. Even though all they were doing was work-study, this child already viewed them as heroes. Even Tamaki, who typically avoided such acclaim, was enjoying it. "Lemillion, my mom is a huge fan. Will you autograph this t-shirt she made?" Izuku responded. The first fan-made item Mirio saw did not bring tears to his eyes. If someone said otherwise, they would be punched in the face by Lemillion. It was just sweat. Lemillion croaked, "Sure." Izuku dealt with each hero he encountered in this manner, one by one. He asked them to sign his surprisingly well-made fan merchandise after stating a few interesting facts about them that even they were unaware of. "Mirko," was Izuku's whisper. The fanboy and the rabbit hero raised an eyebrow. "What's up, fanboy?" With their hands clasped together, Izuku said, "Please knock me out with your thighs." Best Jeanist looked around at the other heroes who were in shock and said, "I can't tell if he's serious. Is he serious?" Looking up at the denim hero, Izuku said, "Dead serious." Mirko laughed, "Ha ha 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 ha, I like this kid. This child is the most daring person she has ever met." Yes, she intended to keep him. His argument was strengthened by the fact that he reminded her of a bunny. She swiftly put the green bean in a chokehold by throwing an arm around him. "I ain't gonna knock you out with my thighs, but how about a chokehold?" she said. Izuku gasped and tapped the rabbit hero's arm to catch his breath, saying, "I'm in heaven." As they watched their fanboy being strangled, all the heroes in the area were concerned about his mental state. Izuku bowed and said, "All might in the flesh, I'm not worthy." "Ha ha 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 ha, stand up, young one. You're the worthiest one of us all." Izuku stood, gazing at all the heroes in front of him, unwilling to defy a request from his favorite hero. The smile said, "Thank you for everything, Izuku." Aizawa stepped up and said, "No, thank you for your nerdy unwavering support." He was aware that this child had experienced a great deal, and that this small gathering was too distant to offer an apology for the injustice to strange people. Izuku was astounded by how quickly time had passed when he glanced at his watch and saw how late it had gotten. How he was going to get this to his apartment without getting robbed was another concern. Lemillion yelled, "We'll take this to your house tomorrow personally." Najire and Sun Eater nodded in agreement. "Really? Great. Well, I'll be going then, my mom's probably worried about how late it is," Izuku said. "Very well. Have a good night." Night-Eye nodded. "Oh, Midoriya-kun, one question before you retire," Nezu responded. "Ah. It's Principal Nezu of UA. How long have you been here?" Izuku yelled. The bear mouse laughed, "Long enough to know you have keen analytical skills that I think would go to waste unless probably nurtured. Tell me where you plan on going to high school." Every hero waited in the hopes that their alma mater would be his response. "Come on, say UA, Ketsubutsu, Shiketsu." "Oh, since I'm quirkless, hero schools are out." "What? Gen Ed though," complained Midnight. The present Mike attempted to interrupt, saying, "Now hold on there, Izuku." Izuku persisted in saying, "So probably Island Academy, despite all of the heroes' protests." "But how? Island is a highly exclusive island for scientists to research and develop support items for quirks," All Might said. "I know. It's weird. I was messing around with an idea for a support item to add to my scooter and put it on one of my forums for feedback, and the next second I received an email inviting me to Island's Academy by David Shield himself." The young boy's explanation had left almost all of the heroes speechless. "Neat, right?" Izuku grinned and exclaimed. All the heroes in the room muttered, "Yeah, neat." As he looked through the computer screen, Izuku exclaimed, "Nice one, Shield-san. I can't believe you were able to actually create a hoverboard prototype." Melissa clarified, "But thank you. Although, it is just a prototype, so it doesn't hover yet." "Oh my god, you're too adorable, Izuku," a quiet voice murmured. Izuku was so amazed by the elder girl's creation that his eyes were practically gleaming. The fact that he was speaking to the Melissa Shield, David Shield's daughter, astounded him. She was already gaining recognition as a prodigy who was on par with her father. With beaming eyes, Izuku exclaimed, "Oh man, I still can't believe I'll be going to school with you, Shield-san. It's a dream come true." Flattered by his praise, Melissa laughed at the younger boy's enthusiasm. The majority of people forgot about the supporting aspects of heroing and only wanted to be heroes. Hearing Izuku's kind words was a welcome change. "Thanks, Izuku. I can't wait to have you join me too. Your scooter attachment was a work of art. And I thought I already told you call me Melissa," she laughed. Well you did but..." Izuku blushed. "Izuku. Sorry, Melissa. There we go. So, when are you and your mom coming to visit?" Before deciding he had nothing better to do and could come check it out right away, Izuku mentally reviewed his schedule. "Whenever, I'll go talk to my mom now," Melissa exclaimed. "Really? That's amazing, I can't wait to see you, Izuku." Inko smiled at her brilliant idiot and said, "You still have school, my cute little fanboy idiot. You can visit Island during your school break in a few weeks." Izuku looked red in the face and forgot he was still in school. He went straight back to his room to inform the blonde American that he couldn't go see Melissa or Island. Izuku sulked, "My mom said I have to wait till break to go." "Ha ha ha. I can't believe you forgot you still had school and were about to skip," Melissa laughed. "Sorry but a trip to Island is like a once-in-a-lifetime type thing," Izuku complained, blushing once more at the older girl's remarks. Melissa deadpanned, "Izuku, you're going to go to school here for 4 years." "Oh, I think I just heard my mom apologize," Izuku said, gazing at his computer screen. "Goodbye, Melissa." "What? I heard nothing at all." Melissa uttered those words. "Goodbye." Izuku grinned and hung up after making a fool of himself. Thus, Bring the Green-Haired Fanboy to UA is launched. Take the Shiketsu Fanboy, Ketsubstu. CI. Since CI Academy was an all-female school, the headmistresses claimed that their fanboys should attend her school caused the entire room to fall silent. This was not because her school wasn't a good hero school, quite the contrary, it was one of the best. "Well, madam, I said what I said," snarled the school's all-female headmistress. But CI Academy is an all-female school. Our cute little fanboy can't go there, can he?" asked Najire. The only one with the courage to pose the query they were all considering. The headmistress yelled, "Don't assume the kid's gender," as she attempted to find a way to admit the cute little nerd to her school. Uncertain of how to react to that assertion, the heroes all turned to one another. Midnight remarked, "Oh, you know what, she's got a point." Achoo. Izuku wiped his nose, feeling as though he was being mentioned somewhere. That wasn't incorrect of him. "Boo," Izuku said. "Quadruple AO hi Toga. How's hero training going?" Despite the fact that the blonde former villain had nearly given him a heart attack by ambushing him. "It's going great, Zu-kun. Guess what I found out?" Toga laughed. Sincerely curious as to what the fanged girl could have deduced, Izuku tapped his chin thoughtfully. Naturally, it was related to her peculiarity because he had inquired about her training progress and she had mentioned that she had learned something new about herself, though he wasn't sure what it might be. He only knew that she could replicate someone else's appearance by consuming their blood, but that was the only information he knew about her amazing but enigmatic talent. Oh, but she must be able to use that person's quirk as well if she has learned more about her own. Unaware that he was mumbling, Izuku exclaimed, "Yeah, that has to be it." He turned to Toga to ask her if he was right, but she was staring back at him with a confused expression. Toga asked, a little disappointed that she hadn't surprised the boy with her new talent, How did you figure all that out just by me saying I found something out about my quirk, Zu-kun?" Unaware of the blushing former villain, Izuku complimented him, saying, "No way, was that it? Oh my gosh Toga, that's amazing, you're going to be such a great hero, definitely top pro material. Not to mention that since your quirk is quite literally unheard of, you'll be a threat to villains everywhere." No one had ever considered Toga top pro material or even valued her quirk to that extent in her entire life. The fanged girl didn't mind at all, but it only made her blush more. Being recognized for having a hero's quirk rather than a villainous one felt good. "Wow Zu-kun, you meant it when you said you'd be my #1 fan huh?" laughed Toga. "Of course, I always keep my promises. I can't wait to be there for your debut Toga," Izuku said, beaming broadly as he turned to face the girl. Toga clutched her chest, aware that the nerdy fanboy's word was causing her heart to beat more quickly than it should. "I swear Zu-kun I'm gonna be the best pro ever, just you wait," Toga was beaming. "I'm counting on it." Toga leapt into Izuku's arms for an embrace just before she was ready to leave, or at least that's what Izuku believed. However, Izuku started to feel something dripping down his throat and a slight pain on his neck a few seconds into the hug. After she released her grip, Toga sighed, "Ah, you know I've sucked a lot of blood from people, but your blood really is the best, Zu-kun." Izuku said, a little dizzy, "Ah, that's really sweet, come back anytime." Toga jumped away after giggling at the unintelligible teenager. "See you later, Zu-kun." "Yeah, bye," Izuku muttered as he made his way straight to his apartment. Inko squealed. Gasp. "Izuku, is that a hickey? My children have grown up so much. How dare you try and steal our fanboy away from us, David?" "What?" All Might told his old friend over the phone. "Don't what I mean, I know you understand." Until he heard his ex-partner mention Izuku Midoriya, David was still perplexed as to what in the world he was talking about. Everything began to fit together at that point. "Oh, ha ha, you're talking about that adorable dork who's joining Melissa at I-Island next year, huh?" David replied smugly. "Yeah, poached him after I found his scooter design on an online forum for inventor enthusiasts. Kid's crafty, lemme tell ya. He and Melissa get along so well. In fact, I may be wrong, I'm not, but the kid should be visiting I-Island in about 2 weeks." "I apologize, but what is he doing now?" All Might inquired. "Coming to visit us in about 2 weeks. Melissa invited him to see the school, and he accepted." David grinned. "Really? Yeah. Really?" All Might muttered. "Well, we'll just see about that." "All right, big guy, be careful. I'll say it again. Code Red, in 2 weeks, a nerdy fanboy will visit I-Island." After interrupting what was supposed to be a crucial meeting regarding the future of heroes in training, All Might yelled to his fellow heroes. However, after learning that their fanboy would be departing for an island visit in a few weeks, everything was dismissed, and they turned their attention to determining how to prevent that from occurring. Eraserhead said out loud, "All right, folks, we have 2 weeks to keep that kid in Japan and far away from America. I want anything you can think of to keep that kid from leaving, including plans, bribes, and ideas," Principal Nezu declared. "I recently released new merchandise," Midnight remarked. "I'll have my team bring him one of everything. I'll have the Green Bean woo one of my students who has a crush on her," the CI Academy headmistress suggested. "What? No good," she said. They all halted their activities to gaze at the headmistress in disbelief, unable to comprehend that they would voluntarily allow one of their students to do something so vile for their fanboy. I don't think we should use our students," Midnight started to say, but Night Eye cut her off. "We'll keep that as a backup plan. You're right, Fuyumi-san, scootering is the best." Izuku gave a cheer. They ended up here with Koda scootering next to Fuyumi, who appeared to be having a great time on an Eraserhead scooter, after Izuku managed to persuade Koda's babysitter to join them in scootering around the skate park. Although she denied wanting to scooter, he could tell by the look in her eyes that she did. Fuyumi grinned and said, "It's so something." Since this was her first time riding a scooter, she was trying her hardest to be cautious because it wasn't hers and she didn't want to have to tell her family that she had hurt herself while riding an Eraserhead scooter. "Fuyumi, see what I can do," Koda joyfully called out. If Fuyumi had to guess, it probably had something to do with the three of them skating together. She knew how lonely the younger boy felt and that she could never really connect to him because of the large age difference, but with Izuku here, that gap was filled. Fuyumi turned to look at the smaller boy who was smiling more than she had ever seen him smile while they were together. The strange teen fanboy owed her a lot. When Shoto went to visit his sister while she was watching that Koda child, he had no idea what he was expecting to see, but seeing her riding a scooter with a 6-year-old and someone his own age was completely out of the ordinary. He could have sworn Fuyumi had stated that she was only watching the angsty kid of the water duo, so why tell? Did it appear that all three of them were having a great time riding scooters together? No one appeared to be angsty at all. Anyway, I'll find out how this happened eventually. I need to make sure that curly-haired kid isn't trying to use Fuyumi for anything. Additionally, he wanted to know if he could ride a scooter, which Fuyumi made seem like a lot of fun. Shoto assumed that he would only be seen watching a grumpy little 7-year-old when he made the decision to pick up his sister from the skate park. He had no idea that his sister, 22, would be riding a hero-themed scooter with the child she was meant to be watching and a teenager his age who had the messiest hair he had ever seen. He would undoubtedly investigate how this occurred and perhaps even test out that scooter. It wasn't until her youngest brother suddenly appeared and asked what she was doing that Fuyumi realized how much fun she was having on the extra scooter Deku had brought. Shoto inquired, "Is this what you do when you babysit?" Fuyumi flushed. "Ah, Shoto, I can explain." Unaware of the additional body that had arrived, Izuku yelled, Fuyumi, look what I learned. The boy who had called for their red Fuyumi's attention was grinding against the railing when Fuyumi and Shoto turned to face him. Both Koda and Fuyumi applauded their friend's accomplishment of the new trick. Shoto was taken aback by what he had just seen the teenager with the freckles do. He was surprised that someone could pull off such a feat while riding a scooter. The boy in front of him, riding a scooter with his sister and the child she typically watches, captivated him. So I can explain. It's not like I always scooter when I babysit, this is just a new development, Shoto. I swear, Fuyumi responded. Shoto wanted to know if he could scooter too, since he could already disregard what his sister did while watching the kids. Fuyumi. Yeah, Shoto? I want a scooter. Okay. Deku exclaimed. Good job Todoroki-san. You're a natural, as he proudly observed the boy with the two-toned hair carefully scootering around. I want to perform tricks, Shoto muttered. Both Deku and Fuyumi squealed as they turned to face one another. Fuyumi snapped a quick photo of her younger brother riding a scooter because she had never seen him look so cute and knew that this moment would not last. Koda and I will do our best to teach you Shoto, that we swear, Deku said. Yeah, promise, exclaimed Koda. As it happens, this would be the start of an odd friendship in which Deku would teach Koda, his daughter, and the number two's son how to ride a scooter. Despite the absurd age difference between them all, Deku didn't find it strange at all and was simply delighted to have more friends. Deku grinned and said, this isn't weird at all. Tenya. How's school? Make any new friends lately? Keeping your grades up I hope, replied Tensai. Tenya grinned at his brother, pleased to respond to his inquiries. He couldn't claim to have made any new friends, even though he was maintaining his grades. He was a strange new student who joined Same, but he was more of a friend. My grades are all A's. I promise you Tensai, but I am ashamed to say I have made no new friends, Iida stated. The response from his stiff younger sibling made the pro-hero laugh. Though he knew that was just the way he was, he still loved the child despite his wish that he would lighten up. Don't worry Tenya, I'm just happy you're sharing what's new with me. So, what's up? You usually don't visit me on weekdays. Yes, although not a friend, I did make a new acquaintance. His name is Izuku Midoriya. You see, while I oversaw showing him around school, he found out I was your little brother and made the outlandish request to race you on his scooter. I told him I'd ask you, but it most likely would be impose. Tensai's back straightened and a huge smile spread across his face as soon as he heard the name Izuku Midoriya. Oh, how he was going to use his scooter to race this little nerd. Tensai interrupted his brother in the middle of his sentence and said, I'll do it. You will? Yes, tell the kid I'll race him this weekend and to bring his best scooter. The boy was in too much shock to talk. His brother was one of the busiest professional heroes, so he was shocked that he was taking the weekend off to race a child he had never met. He had no idea that his brother had already met this child and that it would be an absolute thrill to race the little nerd on his scooter. He was eager to make fun of all the other professionals. Tenya said doubtfully, okay. I'll let Midoriya-san know to be free this weekend. Tensai made a silly smile and said, excellent. He left his brother, who was unable to speak, alone in his office right away. Tensai needed to make a lot of phone calls. This was going to be a memorable race. After speaking with his class president, Iida Tenya, Izuku yelled from his room, I'm gonna race Ingenium this weekend on my scooter. Oh my gosh, Izuku, that's so amazing. We should polish up your scooter then, huh? Replied Inko. Of course. But I need to oil the wheels and give it a new paint job. Iida said his brother wanted me to bring my best scooter, so I have to make it look my best. Izuku sighed. Using a tiny fist pump, Inko declared, I'll get the polish. Izuku shouted, I'll get new wheels, and rushed out of his apartment. Oh, I should also call Melissa and see if she has anything I could add to my scooter. No wait, that would be cheating, wouldn't it? So, you're gonna race the nerd on his scooter, and you plan on having it advertised as an official racing event between a hero and a celebrity? Replied All Might. What don't you like? Tensai asked. No, it's fantastic. Midnight remarked. Get tickets sold now, present Mike. He said, already on it. Yes, this will definitely help Ua win him over. Nezu chuckled. Job well done Tensai. Shiketsu's headmaster grumbled. Damn it, why didn't we think of something like this? CI's headmistress grumbled, because we don't have any damn speedster alumnus. That was fantastic. Clone quirks are something I've never seen. Ectoplasm does exist, but his peculiarity differs greatly from yours. I'm fantastic. I'll murder you, Yes, it's really cool how you divided into 4 groups and then instructed them on what to do, Izuku exclaimed. Jin Bubaigawara acknowledges that he has been called many names, but awesome is not one of them. Villainous would be the most common, followed by crazy. Nevertheless, this young man has changed his entire world in just 5 minutes of meeting him. Are you a hero, then? With an enormous smile on his face, Izuku inquired. A hero, me? As if, Jin, who had long since given up that ideal career, started crying when it was suggested that he might be a hero. Yes, you would be among the best due to your peculiarity and the number of people you could save. I'm already getting chills. Izuku let out a squeal. Snap! When Jin realized that he was no longer hearing a lot of voices in his head, it was as if something finally clicked into place after all this time of fighting against himself. The words of this eerie child who had suddenly appeared while he was trying to rob a bank were enough for the villain to try again. Kid, what's your name? Izuku Midoriya. Izuku grinned, but you can call me Deku. I'm going to do it, Deku. You know what, just watch as I become a hero. Jin yelled as he fled from the enigmatic child. Mister, you have my support, Izuku yelled. Where are the 2 hells? Jiren yelled. I am unsure. Last I heard from the clone user, he was going to rob a bank, a servant replied. That idiot better not have gotten caught. I owe a lot of people money and he was gonna be the one to pay it. Jiren sighed. Bakugo's future was uncertain because of one stupid quirkless fanboy, Deku, who prevented him from applying to any hero schools or obtaining a quirk usage license until he went to therapy. But why in the world would he need therapy when he had no problems? If anything, Deku needed therapy to realize that he should just die. Bakugo was so furious that he had no idea where he was going or what he wanted to do. That blonde dude looks like an angry Pomeranian, better steer clear of him, said Kirishima. He would have screamed if there had been so many extras out, but Bakugo stopped his dumb walk to take in the news as he continued to clear his head. On the television, there was a racing competition that was to be broadcast across Japan and pitted a well-known fanboy against a hero. Hero-cheering fanboy Deku and speedster hero Ingenium will face off in the race of the century this Saturday. In this exactly PECULARI race, WHO will win. Check this weekend to learn more. Are you serious? That oddball wannabe gets to race against a hero, Deku? This must be a joke, Bakugo yelled, sneering. A firm hand slammed down on the boy's shoulder as he was about to resume his walk, halting his progress. Bakugo, who was already in a bad mood, became even more irate at whoever had the gall to stop him. When Bakugo saw a random blonde girl in a sailor uniform, he stopped talking in the middle of his tirade and said, "Who da fuck do you think you are to stall, eh?" Despite her appearance, she had an iron grip on his shoulder that made him wince in pain, and the sharp object that he felt poking his abdomen didn't make him any less afraid. How did you feel about Zu-kun? The girl flashed her fanged teeth in a smile. Bakugo would never acknowledge that he was terrified of girls, but this one made him shudder. Bakugo swallowed, I didn't say anything about that shithead. So you didn't call him a quirkless wannabe, and then just now, a shithead? The girl, who had yet to be identified, said with a wider smile. For the first time today, Bakugo began to pray to Kami, something he had never done before. Toga-chan. Kachan, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you two in a while. Bakugo was freed after the knife at his side was quickly drawn back. Even the girl's demonic voice abruptly changed. Zu-kun. There you are. I've just been training hard. Want to show you how much cooler my quirk is when I become a hero. Toga was blushing. Izuku exclaimed, "Ah, Toga-chan, I am so excited for your debut," as he gazed at the girl in front of him. Izuku, who was unaware that the blonde was prohibited from becoming a hero, asked, "What about you, Bakugo? What are you up to?" He questioned, "You serious?" "Yeah, what's up?" Bakugo gritted his teeth and said, "I was prohibited from applying to hero schools, because of you, Deku. That's a shame because your quirk is real amazing, but that's how it goes, ya know." Izuku grinned and hummed in contemplation. "Anyway, I bet you could become a cool police officer." As usual, Bakugo blew up because he believed Deku was looking down on him. "You asshole, I ain't gonna settle for a shitty police officer, I'm at least go for a sergeant, you got that, shithead." Izuku grinned at Kachan, pleased that his old friend had chosen his career. Yeah, I got it, Kachan." Uncertain whether to stab this blonde or not, Toga gazed at the two bewildered. However, she will let the child live because Izuku wasn't crying over the taunts this Kachan was throwing at him. Toga grinned and said, Sides, I'm trying to be a hero so can't have homicide on my record. Izuku inquired. What did you say, Toga? Toga laughed and exclaimed, I love green hair. I have green hair, exclaimed Izuku with joy. With a dreamy sigh, Toga said, yes, yes you do. Bakugo went on his walk by himself after he had finally gotten rid of the two annoyances, now reflecting on what he had yelled at his old best friend. Bakugo sighed, shit, now I gotta go to the police academy. And so, with the help of my father, we've concluded that you should add this to your scooter if you'd like to actually win against Ingenium, said Melissa. Izuku gazed in wonder at the blueprint before him. Melissa and her father came up with this scooter edition just 2 days after he informed her about the race. They were the Einsteins of their respective generations. With a smile, Izuku said, yes, yes, this will do. As he asked his sidekick, why did I feel a shiver run down my back? The sidekick deadpanned, did you forget to wear clothes under your hero suit again? When Ingenium felt fabric rubbing against his back, he stopped walking and shook the theory away. No, I remembered today. Beats me then. Since you can no longer be a hero, do you think about what you want to do after high school? Oi Bakugo? Her son was asked by Mitsuki Bakugo. When she discovered that her son was among the kids who had harassed the oddball kids at his previous middle school, she was devastated, but since she was powerless to stop it and her son's dream had been taken away, she decided that was sufficient punishment. I'm going to work as a police officer before becoming a sergeant to prove to that dumbass Deku how awesome I am, Bakugo boasted. What the hell that meant? The Bakugos were both shocked to learn that their son wanted to be a police officer, especially since he had thought of them as glorified lawkeepers not so long ago. The first to speak was Bakugo's father, who was pleased that his son had finally made plans for his future profession. Well, Katsuki, I'm glad you've chosen to continue pursuing a career in law enforcement. I have no doubt that you will succeed. Yes, I will definitely, brat. We'll be supporting you, Mitsuki grinned. It's creepy, stop being mushy. Shut up, buddy. We're trying to be nice. Thank you. It's strange, it's known as supportive behavior. I'm not interested in it, agree to it. Bakugo fathers grinned at his irate Pomeranians and said, I love you guys. Wow, those flames are really hot. During his daily routine of watching villain fights, Izuku happened upon a very burned out looking teenager destroying a building with bright blue flames. While any responsible child would have fled at once, Izuku remained 10 feet away and watched the flames grow larger and larger. Before he burned them to a crisp, Dabi paused in his tracks to see who had seen him commit arson. A nerdy-looking child with a shirt that read, if lost return to Toga. You know Toga, kid? Do I? Izuku boasted, I am her biggest fan, as he displayed the shirt she had made for him, which had her phone number printed on the back. With wide eyes, Izuku remarked, she's going to be a hero, you know. When Dabi first heard from the murderous girl that she was leaving the villain business, he assumed she was just pulling his invisible chain. However, when he learned that she was re-enrolled in school and training to become a hero, he set out to try and track down this kid who had managed to turn Toga to the dark side. Yes, I do. How did you transform her into a hero? Dabi snarled, she was doing great as a villain. Confused, Izuku gazed at the bandaged teenager. Toga was a villain? Was Toga a bad guy? Yes. Idiot, how did you know what I do not care, Dabi said, looking at the nerdy kid with even more annoyance. I'm going to do the following because you took away my partner. Hey, your flames are blue, so they're super hot, huh? The abrupt interruption caused Dabi to back off. He was unsure of how to respond because it was such an arbitrary remark. Indeed, his flames were extremely hot, but the truth was that they weren't even discussing flames at the moment. He was a villain, not an asshole, but he didn't want to be impolite and sidestep his query. With a slow response, Dabi said, yeah, they are. Izuku exclaimed with excitement, I bet you could defeat Endeavor with those flames, huh? This kid was fascinating to Dabi now, disparaging his father's strength. Yes, he would be open to that at any time. Oh yeah, my flames are way hotter than that old man's flames. I could take him down no problem, Dabi boasted. Izuku joyfully exclaimed to his friend, who had been standing beside him the entire time, Todoroki, hear that this guy could totally take out your dad no problem. However, Dabi had not noticed at all. Dabi, also known as Tuya Todoroki, paused to look in shock at the person wearing the, if lost return to Izuku, shirt directly in front of him. Todoroki said without emotion, if you fight my dad, I'll give you 100 yen. Huh? 200 yen? Dabi exclaimed in shock, no wait, You want me to fight Endeavor? Yeah. And beat him preferably, Todoroki said, his expression remaining emotionless. Okay. Do you have a preference for time and place? Dabi asked, both of these rambunctious teenagers making him uncomfortable. Todoroki waved goodbye to the fire user and said, "We'll text you," before mounting the new scooter he had bought and riding away with Izuku in tow. "Wait, how are you going to accomplish that?" exclaimed Dabi. "I have Toga's number," exclaimed Izuku with joy. Dabi turned back to the still-burning building after accepting his response. What the hell just happened? Due to his elevated body temperature, Endeavor was in the middle of a meeting when he felt a chill go down his spine. It was abrupt, but he felt the need to try and increase his flame output, so he ended the meeting in the middle and gathered all of his sidekicks to assist him with training. Izuku exclaimed with delight, "Look, Melissa, I got my plane ticket for Island." From behind the computer screen at the news, Melissa gave her father a high five. They were fully aware of the battle for this nerdy fanboy in January, so it was quite comforting to learn that he had already bought his plane ticket for a visit that was not scheduled to take place for another 3 weeks. Oh, she was eager to make fun of her Uncle Might. Melissa grinned and said, "That's great, Izuku. I can't wait to see you. So aside from preparing for your visit, how's the scooter upgrade?" When the older girl had mentioned his pride and joy, Izuku gave her a proud smile. "It's going great, so, at first, I was having a tough time trying to add the additional part to the scooter by myself, but then I had met a fellow inventor on the forum. I had met you and David," Izuku elaborated. "She is so smart, she even had things to include in the addition to my scooter. Melissa, I am gonna have a real shot at winning against Ingenium this weekend," Izuku laughed. Melissa couldn't resist giving the younger boy's bright eyes a joyful smile. She was eager for him to join her at Island. He had a unique mentality. "She sounds like a brilliant girl, Izuku. Mind if I ask who she is?" "She's my Mei Hatsume, and she's my age. She plans to join the support course for UA when she gets into high school, which I do not doubt she will be able to," Izuku boasted. Izuku said, "Oh, I'll introduce you the next time we talk. You two will get along. I'm eager to meet her because she sounds fantastic." Melissa uttered those words. Dodd. We are in COMPETION. Izuku met a girl inventor who is assisting him with his scooter for the Ingenuity race and who hopes to travel to the United States. Melissa yelled to her father in concern. "No." David sobbed. "So, Hatsume, how long have you aspired to be an inventor?" Izuku inquired. "Only for eternity." Mei Hatsume, a self-described inventor extraordinaire, clarified. Even though he wasn't bad with machines, Izuku was in awe of the girl in front of him because she was so intelligent and knew exactly what she was doing. As he watched her work, Izuku began to question whether he was deserving of going to Island. "What am I thinking?" Izuku chuckled. "Course I am Melissa and David wouldn't lie to me." Ingenium inquired, "Are we ready for this weekend's event?" "Yes, sir. In order to prevent anyone from interfering with your race, we have requested police blockades for that day," a sidekick replied. "We also got in contact with numerous businesses and asked if they would be willing to advertise the event as well as requested food vendors to host the event during and after the race." Sitting at the head of his table, Ingenium nodded his approval of all the hard work put in by his sidekick. Ingenium cheered, "Great, this weekend will be a success," and Izuku Midoriya, the fanboy, will choose UA to attend school. To the fanboy, the sidekicks of Ingenium cheered. It was completely unintentional, but one time Melissa left her computer camera on, and I saw her take her shirt off. Izuku was blushing. "Ooh, scandalous. One time I saw this really older teen with a plain face pop out of the ground naked," Hatsume said. The words, "ooh, spicy," made Izuku laugh. "Now, what are you two discussing?" Melissa sighed, unfazed by the arbitrary subject. Turning to his computer screen, Izuku grinned and said, "Hatsume asked if I've ever seen a naked girl." Hatsume boasted, "I thought it was only fair I share my bedroom tales too." Melissa looked puzzledly at the two younger teenagers, wondering if they were serious. Izuku simply shrugged after returning the inventor's gaze. Knowing that Izuku was far too naive to have ever seen or been with a girl, Melissa waved the conversation aside and then brought up what they had been planning for the past 2 weeks. She finally shook her head in amusement. "Izuku, you'll be pleased to hear that my father and I have completed updating your scooter and determined it is safe to operate," Melissa joyfully declared. "You are now officially prepared for the race." "Good, Melissa, I owe you. This isn't important. Just make sure you win the race for me, please." Izuku gave his friend a smile and said, "You got it." Melissa mockingly reprimanded, and make sure to actually visit in 2 weeks when you're off. Obviously, I'm eager to visit I Island. Oh my god, you must bring a souvenir Izuku with you when you travel to I Island. Never one to let his friends down, Izuku gladly concurred, saying, you got it. Everyone, it's time. With this race, we will formally have done everything we could to win the fanboy over to our cause. It's over for all of us if Ingenium makes a mistake. Hey. Well, Aizawa muttered, it's true. The race between Ingenium and Izuku was turning out to be much bigger than they had anticipated, but then again, when you advertise it on live television, you're bound to get some traction going. The heroes were impressed by how everything had turned out for the big race against their favorite fanboys since so many heroes had come out to support the scootering teen and sponsor food stalls and race merchandise. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing, my all might? Taking a puff from his inhaler to prevent an asthma attack, Izuku asked. Toga, Twice, Dabi, Shoto, Koda, Hatsume, and Fuyumi were all in awe of what they saw. At least a few blocks appeared to be blocked off by a barrier, and police were scouting the streets for anyone attempting to scale it. As if that weren't enough, it appeared that several famous heroes were also present to supervise the race, not to mention the crowd behind the barriers. Wow, Zu-kun. This race looks really intense. Did you notice that they even put up markers back there? I thought it was going to be a straight shot. Toga remarked, taken aback by the amount of work required for this race. Izuku, who honestly thought they were just going to race from Ua to like a convenience store or something, was also perplexed by this and looked at his friend. In all honesty, though, his excitement for the race had increased. To his very special group of friends, Izuku said, all right, you guys, prayer circle. Izuku grinned and said, Dabi, if you would. Although Dabi really didn't want to begin the prayer, he did so because the child was too cute to refuse. Yeah, so we're gathered here for Izu bro so he can beat that speed hero, so let's cheer for him and stuff. Fighting, Dabi said awkwardly. Izuku and the others couldn't help but wipe a tear from their eyes. Their villain friend's prayer was so lovely. Beautiful Dabi, I already feel like I'm getting stronger, Izuku gave a cheer. Dabi muttered, trying to conceal his blush, tch, whatever. A random girl with what appeared to be vines for hair said, yes, I concur. The gods shall bless Izuku with the strength to win against Sir Ingenium. All of his friends, including Izuku, stared at the girl, unsure of her identity. Well, tell me who you are and why you're here, Toga asked directly. She gave a straightforward response before leaving a bewildered group of people behind, saying, Abara Shiozaki, and I'm a sucker for prayer circles. You do realize that I'm not the only one who noticed the golden light illuminating her? Todoroki inquired. Nope. I believed I was having hallucinations. My goodness, I was blessed by angels. Does anyone have a look at the fanboy? He's with that strange group of people over there, and I believe they're kids. Just right. Then let's start the plan. So, the stakes are this fanboy. I win, you agree to come to Ua and join the support course, Ingenium said. With curiosity, Izuku scratched his chin and said, and if I win? The fanboy's belief that he would prevail over a speedster like Ingenium made him smile with amusement. Well, do you have any special requests if you win? Ingenium wondered for a moment if the smirk on his favorite fanboy's face was a good thing, but after hearing the request, he realized that he never had to worry about anything again. I want to play a game of hide and seek. Just that? All you want to do is play hide and seek. Izuku added smugly, with all of Japan as the arena and whatever heroes I want as my opponents. Ingenium tried not to laugh at the ridiculous request, which could be fulfilled right away, but he wasn't going to ruin the child's challenge. Oh, I see. That should be possible. The conditions are that you attend Ua if I win. You get to play tag with all of Japan as the arena and win whatever heroes you want. Yes. Hello Toga. Koda accepted the conditions. Heroes will be joining us for a game of tag, Izuku shouted as he ran to his group of friends. The boy sounded so confident as he went to his friends that Ingenium couldn't help but feel his jaw drop. What exactly did the child have planned? You're not even a hero in training, so you can't force me to go to school, I added. Izuku scowled. How dare that Ingenium wannabe make you go get an education? Oh my god. Who is he to force you to attend school? Izuku's fangirls came together one after the other to support him in his protest against being made to attend school. People will do certain things out of love. Izuku, please don't brainwash your lovers into being as dumb as you, Yuto murmured. Hey, we're not being stupid by Izuku, Hina objected. Yes, this is how we were all ready. Himari gave a cheer. The only thing Yuto, Tuko, and Haruto could do was gape at the enormous table filled with girls and Izuku. They all pondered the power this child possessed. All right, girls, I'll see you at my race. Yes, without a doubt. We wouldn't miss it for anything. I'm bringing a camera to record it. Fantastic. Izuku grinned adorably at his fangirls and said, I just know I'll win knowing you're all there to cheer me on. Tuko whistled, geez, that kid's amount of game is dangerous. It's really crazy, Yuto remarked. You have a really cool quirk, kid. Why don't you want to be a hero? As much as Bakugo wanted to lash out at the damn extra, he knew that if he wanted to have any chance of becoming a sergeant and showing up that dumb nerd, he would have to be nice for once. Bakugo couldn't help but frown at the police recruiter he was speaking to. I simply don't want to, sneered Bakugo. Huh, sweared, but hey, you seem like you'll be a fine cop. I'm going to be a sergeant shitty extra instead of a cop. After high school, you'll undoubtedly be a good recruit. I like the tenacious kid. Despite being called an extra, the recruiter grinned. Come on, today is my race day and I can't miss it. Don't worry Izuku, they won't have the race without you. You're the reason they're having this race, remember? Inko chuckled. When Izuku realized that, indeed, that was the reason for the race, he stopped dead in his tracks. I am racing Ingenium. Oh my god, okay Ingenium, just remember if you lose this, we will blame you causing us to lose the fanboy to the Americans and causing us emotional distress, said the Almighty. Geez, no pressure, was Ingenium's mumble. Look, the kid rides a scooter for fun, there's no way he's gonna win a race against a hero with a speed quirk, the presenter laughed. The rest of the heroes laughed when Midnight said, yeah, we have nothing to worry about. Izuku and his group of outcasts, in the meantime, twice showed a map he had made and said, okay, so I surveyed the course, and this way will provide you a shortcut Lil Green. Yeah, and from what I saw it's at this point when you should pull your secret weapon out, minimal obstacles to get in your way, Toga said. Shoto cheered, Dabi grinned and said, you got this kid. The Lord shall guide you on the correct path to your glory. Abara offered a prayer. Izuku couldn't help but ask the girl who was praying for him, thanks guys, I appreciate. Wait, who are you again? Please call me Shiozaki, may the blessing be with you. Okay. After one race, and that concludes this race. In what has been a huge upset, the fanboy has beaten Ingenium and will be attending Island for school and getting a game of hide and seek with his choice of heroes as prize for winning, said the astonished reporter. There's no way. Was that a scooter? Should we have scanned for any illegal add-ons? I feel like he cheated somehow. Aizawa sighed. Nezu had never been silenced in his brief life, but it appeared that today was a day of firsts. He could find no words to describe what he had seen. All Might lost to an eccentric kid on a scooter, according to Ingenium, the fastest pro-hero bar. What on earth took place? There was nothing Ingenium could do but remain motionless. He was shocked to learn that a boy on a scooter had defeated him. This was something he would never get over. In the meantime, the motley crew of misfits. We're gonna play tag with heroes. We're gonna play tag with heroes. You guys, this is huge. This is big. This is some other adjective for big. Izuku burst into tears. Cheering for their broccoli boy's victory, the oddball crew couldn't help but jump around. They couldn't help but feel equally excited for the child because they knew this was a significant moment. That's my boyfriend, exclaimed a random girl. Another random girl called out, no, that's my boyfriend, while holding a sign for Izuku. He's no one's boyfriend, but also he's my boyfriend, and congratulations on the win, Zuku. Twice, Dabi and Shoto turned to face Izuku, who was joyfully shouting at him while waving at the girls. Izuku waved joyfully and said, those are my girlfriends. You think that means friends who are girls, don't you, Izu bro? Dabi murmured. Doesn't it? Twice sighed, he's so innocent. Toga complained, I want to be a girlfriend too. Okay. Rewind to the race. Ingenium grinned and said, you're going to like a fanboy. Sorry, but I promised Melissa I'd go to Island already, and I really want to play tag with heroes. Don't worry, we'll still play hide and seek after I defeat you. Get set go. On mark. Boom. I can no longer even see the kid, and the fanboy is not holding back. Genium is gone with the dust. Ek. OSHT. Since you won the race, Zuzu, who will you pick to play hide and seek with? Toga, her unofficial boyfriend, was asked. Izuku, who was still in shock that his, Melissa's, and May's scooter plans had worked out and that he had defeated a professional hero in a race, gave the new hero in training a bright smile before responding. Oh my god, there are so many options to pick from, and I don't even know Toga. Did they set a cap? Surely they didn't. I really want the big three to join us for a game. Indeed, Eraserhead and all might be involved. Can you picture Night Eye performing? I'm unable to make a decision, Izuku sobbed. On the losing side, however, he was lost to US, and it's all the fault of idiots, everyone might cry. Tensai, I will never forgive you, Midnight had a hiccup. I gave it my all, but his scooter was really quick, Tensai stood up. Eraserhead muttered, yeah, Slowpoke. All of the local pros were saddened by the loss of their fanboy, even as Izuku celebrated his victory. They knew that after he graduated, he would be traveling to the United States to attend Island for 4 years. 4 years without anyone to support them. What would they do without him? Are you still saving lives? Do you appreciate the fans we already have here? Hawks asked. Present Mike ignored Hawk's question and declared, well, guys, at least we still have the hide and seek game to look forward to. Yeah, you're correct, but who is involved? A hero yelled. Well, we did say it would be Izuku's choice, so whoever he picks gets to play, with all of Japan as the playing field, Tensai said. Oh boy, I really want to play with him, so I hope he picks me. Izuku tag sounds like so much fun, Najire swoons. Well, I suppose we'll just have to wait for the child to declare his preference. Izuku yelled, trying to appear menacing as his friends surrounded him. The following heroes please meet us here in 3 days' time for a game of extreme hide and seek. What? Inquired All Might. The big three. Water Duo, Ingenium, Present Mike, Wild Wild Pussycats, Midnight, 13, Fadgum, Ryuko, Eraserhead, Night Eye, Maruko, Edgeshot, Best Jeanist, and finally, Snipe. Yeah. We get to play hide and seek with Fanboy, Tamaki, yay Mirio. Yeah, let's go. No. The remaining heroes who were not selected had gone to grieve in peace after it was announced which heroes would play hide and seek with Izuku and his group of misfits. In the meantime, the heroes who were selected made sure to celebrate and made plans so that they could at least make this game the best their fanboy had ever played. You won't believe it, Melissa, but the scooter practically vanished as soon as they gave the all clear. I swear it felt like I teleported, Izuku exclaimed. I am so grateful to you and David for your assistance with my scooter plans. Thanks, Izuku, but you only know this victory? Oh, by the way, Dad made the arrangements for your arrival in 2 weeks, Melissa said with praise. I'm so excited for your visit. Izuku almost passed out when he realized that he was going to actually visit Island in person. He would be visiting a place with the brightest minds in just 2 weeks, and the mere thought that he would soon be attending the same school was enough to make him nearly faint. My life can't get any better, can it? Izuku inquired. Izuku had just finished his night shift at his ramen job when he appeared to have encountered something suspicious. Normally, he would look the other way and stay out of trouble, but this situation caught his attention because his friends told him to. Shigaraki's patience was wearing thin as he looked for the doctor for his master, and when they came to another dead end, he became so irate that he smashed the door he was leaving. He was relieved that no one was around to see that he was about to call on Kurogiri when he heard a voice that would change his life. Whoa, nice one. Izuku cried as he saw a man quickly tear apart an entire ass door. What? You just broke down that door, don't you? Oh my gosh, your quirk is so amazing. Do you realize what a fantastic rescue hero you could be? Compared to other heroes, you could remove debris from rescue victims much more quickly. You could make the entire thing disappear, and that's not even counting bomb situations. Izuku erupted in amazement at the peculiarity he had just learned, foaming at the mouth. Are you a hero? Izuku inquired. What? No, of course not, Shigaraki uttered scornfully. Dude, Unfortunately, I would definitely be one of your biggest fans. However, not everyone is cut out to be a hero, and that's perfectly acceptable. Izuku exclaimed joyfully, good luck in all of your pursuits. Shigaraki, who had never been told he could be a hero or given any insight into how his quirk could be so helpful, gazed blankly and in wonder at the location that bushy-haired boy had just arrived at. It was nearly enough to make him cry. We gotta find this bushy green-haired kid, stat. Young master. Why? He doesn't realize it, but his quirk to energize people just by complimenting them is a lethal weapon, and I want him, replied Shigaraki. Are you certain that's not just his attitude but a quirk? Kurogiri inquired. After a few moments of staring at his partner, Shigaraki shrugged and said, I suppose we'll find out when we kidnap him. Ha 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 ha, you are it. Tag, Izuku squealed and rode off on his scooter. The pro hero could only watch in disbelief as the fanboy, who had sneaked up on the ninja hero and tagged him out, rode off on his scooter like the cute menace he was. Edge Shot was officially eliminated from the game. Night Eye, who had also just been tagged out, called out for help from the nearest hero he could see, but because of his current situation, he was oblivious to her current condition. Avoid letting the child go at midnight. From where he hung upside down, frozen in ice, Night Eye yelled. Don't worry about me. Instead, concentrate on, damn it, not you. She backflipped away from the spot where a huge vine whip had just appeared and growled. Did these kids even commence from an underground fight club? Mike, present, shouted. Hellblaze. Vine whip. Detroit Smash. Ring Wave. Frostbite. Dudes, this is a lot of fun, Izuku screamed with delight as he kept riding his scooter through what should have been a peaceful game of tag, oblivious to the competition between his friends and the actual professional heroes for his attention. 2 hours prior, would you mind if we made the game a little more engaging, Fanbo Ahem, Midoriya-san? All Might asked. Izuku stood with all of his friends, trembling with anticipation that he would be playing tag with a group of pros today. He was eager to hear what All Might had to offer, so he chose to listen. All right, so how? Izuku inquired naively. What if we played this in teams instead? There are arguments against you and your friends, and the winner, well, I'm not sure, attends a hero school in Japan. Specifically, All Might inquired. ORSHIKETSU, Academy CI, ahem. Ketsubetsu is a nice school, I hear. That sounds a lot like the last deal you made with Izuku and he beat you fair and square, Toga sighed. Yes, absolutely. However, this time is different because everyone will be participating, so if you all win, you will all receive a reward. All Might quickly reassured the group, who gradually started to show interest in the hero's words once more. So, we could go to one of those schools for the hero course if we wanted to? No strings attached? Toga inquired, glancing at Dabi. For confirmation, All Might looked to all the headmasters. They knew it was unlikely that these kids would ever defeat them, but it wouldn't hurt to at least give them encouragement. If that is what you would like when you win, then so it shall be, replies Nezu. Well, what if we're too old to attend classes? He and Dabi asked twice, hoping that since they were too old to attend high school, they could still benefit from this arrangement. Night Eye shrugged and said, an apprenticeship could be in the cards. Well, what are your thoughts, Izuku? Todoroki inquires. Wow, this is going to be so awesome. We're going to play battle tag with pro heroes. You get to visit Ua after all, Toga. You seem pretty sure you'll prevail? Eraserhead gave a grin. Twice huffed, we have Izuku on our side, Toga boasted, he's helped develop all our quirks. Todoroki grinned and said, we're going to win. The professionals shifted their attention to the naive fanboy who was suddenly stooped over and mumbling at a rate so quick it would have embarrassed Tensai. Shit. How will we be able to tell when someone is tagged out, then? Toga inquired. Nezu and all the other pros looked at each other in embarrassment, as the heroes were momentarily shaken from their stupor and wondered if they had made a mistake. They had forgotten about that minor detail. Ah well, good question, I suppose. I can answer that, Mei Hatsume exclaimed, carelessly interrupting Nezu. Everyone will wear these bracelets that are electronically color coordinated for the team they're on. When someone gets tagged out or knocked out, the bracelet blacks out indicating you're out and the score will change on everyone else's bracelet. The others, including Izuku, nodded in comprehension. It was easy enough for them to follow, and they won easily. The pro group, meanwhile, gaped at the pink-haired girl in wonder that such a young girl had created such a sophisticated mechanism. Where in hell have these kids been hiding, and who were they? Nezu turned to face Midnight and said to the taller woman in a whisper, contact Powerloader, he will want Miss Hatsume. However, after the reactions they received, the remaining heroes were still not happy with the deal they had made. All right, let's get started, Nezu declared doubtfully. Tamaki saw one of his closest friends fly down to him while he was lying against a pillar attempting to hide from the fire user who nearly burned him alive. Seeing Najire had never made him happier. Tamaki coughed, I can't go on Najire. Those kids are too strong. This was supposed to be just tag. Really, that's great. Makes it easier for me when I do this, Najire grumbled. Tamaki felt a shiver go down her spine. What are you talking about? Ring out the wave. Toga was back to her sailor uniformed self in a matter of seconds after dissolving from Najire. 2 down, a couple more to go, hee here I come. Watching the game with the heroes who were eliminated and the remaining pros. Gosh, did that girl just change into Najire-chan, use her special ability to defeat Sun Eater, and then leave? The earlier eliminated Mandalay inquired. The eliminated pros and the remaining pros who were not invited to play tag nodded silently, amazed by the girl's peculiarity and speculating about the kinds of missions she could accomplish. I desire her, CI Academy's headmaster yelled. No, she is what we want, Shiketsu's principal made a demand. She should never go to Ketsubetsu. No, I think Ua is perfect for her, the hero course specifically, Nezu boasted. Prior to further discussion, disagreements erupted amongst the principals of all the hero schools regarding Toga's destination. They would be foolish to allow her to leave with a peculiarity like hers. These kids are supposed to be heroes, you guys. I want them at my school, even if they lose, Shiketsu's principal insisted. Yes, whether you all like it or not, I'm taking that copycat girl and that Vine girl. Was this turned into a scouting mission? The Vine user and the Blue Flame user had eliminated the two pros early in the game, Midnight muttered to the present microphone. Shoto shrugged and hurled a tornado of flames at Lemillion, saying, sorry, but Izuku said he's going to Island already. No. The fanboy is needed by Ua. America cannot have both Izuku and All Might. Lemillion yelled as he dove underground to avoid the fire. Powir. The first individual on Izuku's side was then eliminated. Todoroki. Izuku sobbed. The fanboy was just passing by on a scooter when he saw Lemillion knock out his scootering companion. The only remaining members of the hero sides were Lemillion, All Might, Eraserhead, though his eyes appeared to be dry, Maruko, Ryuku, Best Jeanist, and Fatgum. In just 2 hours, more than half of the pros team had already been tagged out and removed from the extreme game of tag. Are these children? Nezu confirmed they weren't heroes from the underground, correct? Maruko became enraged. They ought to be, or they are. All Might coughed, beginning to feel the effects of the strain of keeping his form. Did you witness the girl who changed into Ryuku and used her special ability to eliminate Najire? You guys are on a whole new level. She then changed into Najire-chan in order to defeat Sun Eater. What a crazy girl. Lemillion cried out. For once, the professionals were taken aback to see Lemillion in such distress, but they were also concerned after hearing everything. How on earth did she do that? What? Fat Gum asked. All right, guys, after all this fun, I believe it's time to get everyone out and guarantee your places in the hero schools. Izuku applauded. To Izuzu. Toga applauded. When Dabi heard this tough former villain refer to Izuku by Toga's pet name, he ended up laughing but decided to join in since everyone else was applauding Izuku in the same manner. Dabi, who is not used to social interactions, thought nothing of Toga's nickname for Izuku and repeated the same thing twice. To Izuzu. What have you seen with foresight, Night Eye? Are the heroes victorious? Is it possible to defeat these children? Pixie Bob inquired. It appears that our fanboy is a formidable opponent. With every scenario I can think of, due to Midoriya-san, we are unable to win. Night Eye explains, he is the catalyst to those kids winning, concealing his intense fear that a boy could do such a thing. Midnight deadpans, well, this kid certainly has a quirk. Ahem, Miss Midoriya, may we inquire as to who gave Izuku and the children down there their training to be so? Inko shrugged and said, brutal, strategic, insanely scary? Najire replied, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm sure Izuku told you how he was bullied for being quirkless his whole life, so he never had friends. To make up for that I allowed him to watch hero fights wherever he could find them. The water pair questioned, yes, he did, but how does that equate to those kids being so damn strong? Inko gave the heroes a sly smile. He also told you about his journals he wrote, yes? Every hero gave a head nod. Some had received some excellent advice from the young child on how to make their peculiarities stronger. Well, he wasn't just watching you all, he was analyzing you. Every fight he was determining what was your weakness, your strengths, how you could better develop your quirk. What else you could do with your quirk. The horrified expressions on all the heroes' faces made Inko laugh. At this point, they understood they had no chance of winning this tag match. So you're stating, considering how strong those other kids are, Izuku helped them figure out things about their peculiarities that they never even believed they could do with it. He also knows how to beat every hero down there. Those kids have conquered their shortcomings and developed into miniature experts. Oh god. Well, and in yet another upset, although we really shouldn't be surprised, the heroes have lost and a ragtag group of kids have won, announced Present Mike. We had All Might, the #1 hero in Japan, several top 10 pro heroes, along with soon-to-be rising pros. How did we get beat by teens? Maruko was speechless. All Might responded, because in the end we didn't have fanboy, as though that were a real, good explanation. The teenage girl turned red as Izuku sang, Toga's going to hero school. I'm gonna be her biggest fan. She's gonna give me her hero merch, over her. For Toga, this was a true dream come true, even though it appeared to be a joke to others. Except for Izuku, no one had ever had enough faith in her to believe that she could get into a hero school. Now, a year later, they are celebrating the fact that she will be able to enroll in any of Japan's best hero schools. Oh Izuzu, stahp, before I bite you, Toga threatened with joy. Izuku cheerfully saluted the girl, knowing she wasn't kidding, and then applauded his other friends. Shoto, Hatsume and Abara are going to hero school. I'm gonna get free hero merch. Twice and Dabi are gonna get ANAPPRENCTICESHIP. The fact that the others would be able to attend heroes' schools as well made them smile shyly. Some of them had already made plans, so it was inevitable. For others, meeting Izuku was a dream they never believed was possible. Twice was crying because he had never imagined that he could be a hero, but now he was speaking with a number of professionals who wanted to train him. It was a blessing in disguise to meet that cute kid with the broccoli hair. Even Dabi was experiencing a particular emotion as his desire to be a hero came true. He never imagined that day would arrive, but he was able to fulfill that dream with the assistance of that little green being with the freckles on his face. Jesus, this kid is too fucking pure, I can't even be mad we lost to them, Aizawa murmured. He's scootering around his friends while singing about how happy he is. How can anyone be mad at that, said Midnight. We're not gonna point out he keeps bragging about future free hero merch, replied Fatgum. Each professional hero who had watched or played tag gave each other a quick glance and a shrug. Nah, I've been supplying the kid with free merch for a while now. Same here. Yup, me too. His mom sends me her fan-made merch, so it's only fair. With a slack jaw, Fatgum said, huh. Guess I'll start doing that too. Alright, kids, since you've won fairly, debatable, was what Night Eye muttered. You now may choose your hero school of choice to go to when you graduate, or if you have already graduated to go to the following semester. Nezu stated. Dabi, twice, there are quite a few heroes who would like you to be their apprentice if you would accept. This was a big decision, and they didn't want to take it lightly, so everyone couldn't help but smile at the cute teenagers gathering in a group to start talking about what they should do. We'll meet up with everyone again in 30 minutes, Izuku declared. Nezu followed up with, very well, I guess a lunch break is in order. Alongside Izuku and company, dude, this is a big decision that you shouldn't make hastily, so, where do you guys intend to travel? I already chose UA, was the first response from Shoto. Yes, nice one fits you, Todoroki, Izuku said, nodding his head in agreement. Abara, Toga. I would like to try Shiketsu. In the hopes that Izuku wouldn't be disappointed that she wouldn't be joining the others, Toga muttered, they're ranked as high as UA but they also have classes focused on reconnaissance and undercover work. Wow. Izuku clarified, oblivious to Toga's flushed face, that's a great idea and they have an awesome uniform I think will look great on you. Toga deadpans, I'm going to bite you later, Izuzu. Dabi sighed and said, just let it happen. Anyways, how about you Shiozaki, Hatsume? Powerloader got on his knees and begged I come to UA I already planned too. But I didn't tell him that, laughed Hatsume. As though reading from the Bible, Abara clasped her hands and responded, the gods have guided me along the path of UA believing I will grow to be the greatest disciple. Okay, yeah, we got it 3 for UA and 1 for Shiketsu. Dabi let out a sigh. Izuku asked the last 2 members of their group, what about you guys? Ectoplasm wants to mentor me. The person using cloning wept. The guy said my quirk. My quirk was amazing, and he'd let me be his sidekick when I complete training. Everyone was so proud of their friend that they were silent for a moment before suddenly bursting into applause for the older adult. Jin will be a superhero. Go twice, we knew you were able. Dabi? Izuku inquired. Edgeshot volunteered to be my mentor. Dabi shrugged. I'm not sure how good the matchup will be, but he's a top 10 pro hero, so I'm not turning him down. Well done, Dabi, Edgeshot is incredible, boasted Izuku. Dabi said, Izu bro if you would, and instructed the younger one to lead them out. All right, let's calm down guys, we still have to let the principals and headmasters know of our decisions. Izuku sobbed, I'd be honored. Well, where do you anticipate them going? Maruko inquired. Shiketsu's headmaster muttered, "Stupid UA, it's always UA." The principal of Ketsubetsu declared, "Yeah, we should just head out already." "Maybe you three, but I ain't leaving," the principal of Sia Academy stated. Any school would be fortunate to have them, especially after that display everyone just saw. Izuku and his group of outcasts had returned to the location where all the heroes were ready to make their announcements, and almost every hero and principal waited eagerly to find out where these hero hopefuls would be choosing to go. "Well, Midoriya-kun and company, have you all made up your minds about your plans?" Nezu inquired. "Yes, we have. We will start by announcing upcoming UA attendees," Izuku grinned. Hatsume, Shiozaki, and Todoroki all took a step forward and bowed to Nezu, saying, "We have made the decision to travel to UA after we graduate." The three of them said, "Please look after us." Though they did not receive the fanboy, they did receive 3 valuable future professionals and inventors, and every UA alumnus present in the room couldn't help but cheer for the 3 future students they were getting. The other principals, who, to be honest, found her quirk most intriguing, were vibrating with excitement at the prospect of possibly getting the copycat girl after learning that only 3 out of 4 students had chosen UA. "Yes," smiled, Izuku said, "Toga if you will." Toga joyfully announced her school of choice while skipping alongside the other 3. "I chose Shiketsu for my hero school." "Yahellll, suck it," the headmaster of Shiketsu yelled. "No. Ketsubetsu, why not? The uniforms of CI are excellent." While the other principals sobbed together, Izuku and the others gazed at the headmaster's chest bumping his colleagues, who were delighted to have at least one of the children. Yeah well that's it for the hero schools. Next up is apprenticeships," Izuku grinned. "Dabi." The fire user nodded to Edgeshot as he casually approached the front. "I'm accepting the ninja's offer to train me," he said. "Ahem. Thank you," Dabi said clumsily after observing Izuku give him a "mind your manners" look. Edgeshot grinned at the older teen, pleased to be able to assist him in realizing his heroic aspirations. "I'm excited to guide you, Dabi." The ninja-like hero bowed, saying, "I will not let your trust go to waste." Dabi looked at the hero and then nodded his head in gratitude. He wouldn't tell anyone, but he was a little emotional when someone promised to keep his trust. "How about you, Jin? Have you made up your mind about which hero you want to learn from?" Nezu asked. Ectoplasm waltzed up to the front and put an arm around the clone user before he could respond. "Has he? It's me, Nezu, mentoring this guy, Jin. Don't you think that his quirk and mine are the same thing?" "Yeah, Ectoplasm and I spoke already and he's gonna mentor me and he even said he'll let me his sidekick once I'm ready." "Well, that's a bold pledge, but I still adore it," Nezu laughed and said, "I suppose it's decided that Todoroki, Shiozaki, and Hatsume will be joining UA in the upcoming year. Don't worry, entrance exams are not necessary. Toga is given to Shiketsu. Additionally, there is no entrance exam needed," the headmaster said. "Edgeshot and I will be mentoring Jin and Dabi to be heroes and leading them to get their pro-hero license and if they'd like our sidekicks," stated Ectoplasm. "I'm also heading to Island," Izuku joyfully declared. The excitement of getting these other kids had temporarily distracted everyone from their primary goal, which was to get their fanboy to attend UA. They had almost forgotten that he was still traveling abroad to attend a completely different school. "Oh, that's correct. You still intend to travel to the United States, and that is a certain thing?" All Might inquired. "Yes, and I can finally go to Island since school will be on break starting Monday." "Now say what?" Almost all of the heroes in the observation room let out a scream. "Mom made katsudon to celebrate our victory, so let's go, guys. We've overstayed our welcome." Izuku gave a cheer. "Mama Inko, yay!" Toga applauded. Mama Inko, Hatsume, Jin, and Dabi all screamed. As Todoroki hummed, "Mama Inko," in prayer, Abara said, to Mother Inko. Aizawa sighed, "I'm going to miss that weird little fanboy when he's gone." Facts. Lemillion tried to boost spirits by saying, "Let's just enjoy his cheering for us while we still got him everyone. Yeah, while we still have them, let's enjoy our fanboy." The other heroes began to cheer and scream as Maruko shouted. At the home of Midoriya, Mama Inko, Katsudon. Katsudon. Hey, how was your game of tag? My son adopted some random kids into a little ragtag group. As she served the many odd figures in her apartment, Inko asked with a joyful smile. Toga was definitely the MVP, and you wouldn't believe it, every time she got a little of someone's blood and eliminated about 5 heroes, She continued to mimic their quirk. Then Jin created about 100 clones and defeated Dobby and All Might to the extent that he stopped playing tag. Really, that sounds intriguing but completely different from tag? As Dobby devoured the food in front of him, he clarified, yeah, it turned into an extreme game of tag because the heroes placed another bet to try and keep Izuku here in Japan instead of going to America. Manners, once more? Whoa, honey, it looks like they want to keep you here, Inko chuckled. Yeah, but Melissa and David already got me a spot at I Island and it's well known that in terms of where you would want to go to learn about support items, I Island Academy is the place to go. I'm glad you know what you want to do after graduation next year, my little fanboy, but please remember us when you visit America, okay? I would never. You have no idea how many debuts I have to watch, with Toga's being the first. You know how I'm at the top of the list, Toga drooled. Izuku declared casually, of course, I promised I'd be your #1 fan, and I meant it, before returning to his Katsuden. After admiring Izuku for a few seconds, Toga turned to face his mother and blurted out the only thing she could think of at the time. With a pout on her face, Toga held both of Inko's hands in hers and said, give me your son's hand in marriage. Inko laughed and said, you're going to have to get in line, darling. What? Toga let out a scream. Todoroki, Abara, Jin, and Dabi all paused their meals to exclaim, what? Knowing how the green bean was, Hatsume simply laughed at everyone's response and resumed eating. Create Izuku thought whatever had happened to him was temporary because a few seconds later he could see light, a bar stand, and a shadowy figure. Izuku was riding around on a scooter looking for an underground hero fight when all of a sudden everything went dark. Hello? Hello, young sir. Hey, you're not going to know how I got here, are you? A man who looked like a magician replied, that would be my quirk. How did you do that? Wow. Mr. Compress replied, Kurogiri brought you here after I compressed you into a marble. Wow, that's so amazing, can you compress anything? Yes. Oh man, can you imagine the type of rescue hero you'd be? The possibility is endless, and then there's the fact if you join a bomb squad, you'd make clearing it up so much faster. Geez, your quirk is so versatile, Izuku murmured. Mr. Compress gazed languidly at the small green bean beside Kurogiri in front of him. He just started talking about how amazing his quirk was after they had just finished kidnapping him and taken him to their base. Even the fact that he had been abducted did not frighten the child. An unaware Izuku questioned, oh wow, this is a nice club, but am I allowed to be here? Kurogiri said, we made an exception just for you. He was still perplexed as to why the child did not fear them, given that they had just abducted him for Shigaraki. AWW, that's so nice, exclaimed Izuku. Oh, hey, you're that guy with the amazing disintegration quirk? Have you become a hero yet? This child was far too innocent to even attempt anything bad, and Shigaraki had to turn away to stop blushing. He had initially brought him here in an attempt to win him over to the league as a personal fanboy, but to be honest, he was unable to do so. Shigaraki muttered, I haven't. I wanted to invite you to play video games. Oh my gosh, really, I've never been invited to someone's place to play games, Izuku wept. As soon as Shigaraki, Mr. Compress, and Kurogiri saw how sweet and innocent this child was, they tried to make things right. Please feel free to come over whenever you want to play with us, the three of them said. Izuku grinned and exclaimed, thanks guys. I had fun, but I gotta go now before my mom worries. I'll see ya. Kurogiri bowed and opened a portal for the boy, saying, until next time, young Midoriya. Late Zuku. Shigaraki said, casually signing the child's piece.
So this was the end of the series. I hope you enjoyed it. To watch more series like this, subscribe to my channel. Till then, bye bye.